That's not true.
They're injecting it into their veins.
I don't think that's happening.
An ABC Action News exclusive. A mom says a popular herb killed her son.
The most recent death happened in early June. Kratom, also known as metrogenine, was one of 4 drugs blamed for his death.
This was like the devil's drug.
It really is just a green powder that makes people feel better.
Yeah, it's a leaf. It grows from the ground, you smash it up, you make a tea out of it, you throw it down the back of your throat, you eat some capsules, and you feel better, your mind's clear. And most people that use Kratom don't have access to healthcare or prescriptions or any of that regular medicine stuff. They get it from local stores or online.
Let's do an example here. You're a young person. You don't understand how all this works, so let me explain this to you. When you get hurt in your older age, let's say you're 34, you work on a roof, you fall off, and you crush your fucking heel, right? It's all shattered. The doctor 10, 15 years ago was like, that's fucked up, that really hurts. You're gonna need some opioids to kill that pain. And then the DEA says, no, you can't have those anymore. These doctors have to tighten up their prescriptions. And now you don't have any. You can't afford them. What do? You can take Kratom. It has the same effects, it's less addictive, and it's more gross. So that even brings down the use. You're not gonna use it as much. Kratom kills the pain in your body. It also cures social anxiety.
The government's solution to stuff like this is always prohibition, which means putting more people in jail.
How big is your appetite for the war on drugs? I'm sure it's small. It's shrinking every single day. Don't let them continue it. Don't let them outlaw more stuff.
Good point.
Thank you. Polite about it.
It's just not the polite way to have sex.
That's just really one way to have sex that's polite, and it's to say, ma'am, or sir, or non-binary person, would you like to enjoy some making love with me? And then if they answer yes, then you mount that person and you move back and forth politely, and then you kind of finish it up and you say, that was great, and then you never mention it again. That's the right way to have sex, okay?
And folks, and that's why we don't do any sort of sex advice or sex stuff on this show, because there's none to be given.
I am wise!
I want you to write the polite sex book, like the proper polite method.
I just said it. How many times have you gone into work and then looked at your boss and said, what are they doing? You ever think about the levels at a job, Brett? Of course, the people on the very bottom. What do they do?
Usually clean.
Yeah, and then there is the people just above them. They're the ones that do the second hardest job at the place, right?
Deal with customers?
Yeah, that sort of thing. And then there's another level above that, and that's the manager that's in the place. Now let's think about what comes after that, right? You might have a guy named like Glenn that comes to your office every 6 months, and you have to lay out the red carpet for Glenn. Think about what the person above Glenn does. Jerry is the person above Glenn, right?
Okay.
His job is basically going to lunch, right?
Yeah, powerful meetings, shaking hands real hard.
We're gonna go up to the CEO now. The people that sit around a table and who knows what they're doing? Nobody knows what they talk about.
Playing cards.
What connection does that person have to what you do and what the customer gets? It just seems like you could really chop like 5 or 6 levels off of any job and the company would still run perfectly.
Think about your job. Now imagine your manager isn't there. How much smoother would your day run?
I mean, how many of you work a job where you don't even know who the fucking CEO is of the company? That means they're absolutely useless. They're parasites.
They're on the top, getting most of the money, sending their kids to private school, driving the fanciest cars, and they can't make a sandwich. Every new level of hierarchy is more money coming out of your paycheck. Unions are fucking great because it's not HR.
You need solidarity with the other workers. We need to use that and exercise that. You and your other workers are the most important
Hello, Street Fighters! Welcome to the Call-In Show. Hope you're doing well. Tonight is a very special episode of the Call-In Show. We're doing the ABCD show. That's anyone but cis dudes can call in. And just off the top, this will be a new change in the Call-In Show format. We're going to start asking pronouns on every call, just so that it's not something we do on this show, so that everybody gets treated the same. And we want ABCD people to call in during the regular shows. So that streamlines the process and was an easy solution to a non-existent problem. So we're here tonight taking your calls. If you're ABCD identifying 614-655-3887, we want to hear from you. Tell us about work. Tell us about things going on in your life. Tell us about ways to steal. Whatever works for you, we want to know. We are the #1 anarcho-comedy radio show on any station across the nation, and we're here because the people want us to be, because folks like you keep showing up every single week and subscribing to the show and giving us money on Patreon and buying t-shirts. We raised a few $100s for Texas Mutual Aid with the D&D stream on Thursday. We have our next D&D stream happening on March 25th. And if you want the audio of that, you can get that on patreon.com/streetfightradio at any level. We'll have the D&D stream audio. Otherwise, you can watch it for free on twitch.tv/streetfightradio and YouTube. My name is Brett Payne. My co-host is Brian Quimby, and we're taking calls. How's it going?
Good, good. I'm doing okay. Just had a Cliff Bar.
Oh, those are great.
A little Cliff Bar before the show.
The original.
Get the juices flowing. Get the shakes out of me. I was a little shaky, weird.
Yeah.
You know?
Clip Bar, great thing to keep in a cargo pants pocket.
I know.
Just wash it in there. It'll be fine. Just always have one in there as an emergency.
I had it in my purse. I had
Okay.
a Cliff Bar in my purse.
That's
I just
also
grabbed it out,
popular place too.
jammed it down the throat there while you were doing the intro. Feeling good now.
Love it.
What's
This is
that
not
about?
sponsored by Cliff.
Yeah, I was like, I had dinner tonight was pasta, but I bought arrabbiata sauce, which is the spicy
yes.
sauce, and hard to get through a big bowl of pasta with arrabbiata sauce. I gotta tell you.
Really?
Took you down before I got over here. That I like to lay down for an hour, half hour before we do the call-in show, just in a silent place, no noise, no nothing. And that is like a pretty easy thing to ask for in my house, pretty easy. And I do it every time. Tonight, I went up in my bedroom to do it. I didn't want to bother my family and be like, hey, shut up, talk quietly, please, thank you. I did fuck up earlier today, so I didn't want to fuck up a second time.
Tail between your legs still?
Oh, yeah. And I'll explain that in a second. I went up in my bedroom, lay down, and started sweating. Just the kind of sweating where you're like, I think I'm sick. I think something's fucked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I just cooled down, like, immediately. Now I'm freezing cold. And I can still feel the remnants of the sweat around the bottom of where my hair is and stuff like that, and my hat. But
maybe on the pasta sauce jar, they should put a warning label that says, prepare to take a shower after consumption.
I probably should have taken a shower. I mean, I was out all day. It's 60 degrees. I took a long walk today and got home and I was tired. I'm building my endurance back up because my endurance goes way down after the winter because I just get, and you get halfway through what I would consider a regular walk and I'm like, oh, I'm tired. So, I went long today, so I did feel tired anyway.
Yeah, I can't wait to get to spicy sauce life. I just grimace at my wife and just put red pepper flakes all over the pasta. I'm like, I cannot wait till this kid goes to college.
Yeah.
And we can make jerk stuff and we can make, hot food again.
You got about 6 years or so.
Okay.
You're set. I mean, you can do anything you want once they're 14.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
Fucked up earlier today, though. Heading out the door. Look at my wife who just finished doing the dishes. Lots of dishes, too. 2 days worth of dishes. And,
Hand washed them.
Yeah, we don't have a dishwasher. I'm on my way out the door and I look at her and I go, hey, I forgot to do it, but my cargo pants next to my dresser, I need those washed. And she was like, yeah, I'm just a domestic bitch. That's fine. And I was like, I did not mean it that way. You know what I mean? I was just like, hey, if you were gonna do the laundry, I was just saying, go over there and grab but I said it in such a way that sounded like, wash my pants while I'm gone all day, not doing anything around the house. I mean, we're cool now. I just felt like an asshole being like, you know, hey, go grab my pants and wash, because I don't wash them every time I wear them because I wear them every day.
Right.
So it's like, wear them like 5 or 6 times, and then it's time to wash them. They get like salt and shit all over them, or flour, or arrabbiata sauce, or stuff like that. So yeah, I fucked up. Haven't been working much around the house lately. Been very bad. I even like was explaining myself to her, and I was like, hey, let me just show you something. I showed her my phone where the messages icon is, and it said it's currently at 131 unread messages.
Damn, on text?
And I was like, that is where I'm at right now. I'm at 131 unread text messages. That's the mood I'm in. I mean, they're not like important texts, you know. I just don't check like when my prescriptions come in. Or like John setting up a podcast and we finished setting it up and he said, okay, cool. And I just didn't click on it. You know what I mean? But,
yeah, I'm kind of nervous because last week we were talking about using the project management software, and you said, "Oh, I don't check that. Text is the only thing that I check. That's the one thing I check 100% of the time. It never fails.
Click the text if it's 2 words. You know what I mean? If it's just like, oh, cool. All right, well, I don't need to click that one. I just scroll past it. But I do check my texts from you, especially.
Okay.
I check my Brett Payne texts. Your bubble is still completely empty. My Brett Payne, my Katie, my Glenn, those are all, and John mostly, are all checked. You know.
Okay.
I wouldn't do that.
No, I wouldn't have noticed that. I would have noticed that.
Yeah, I check them all.
And I'm not good at answering text messages either.
And I leave my red receipts on for everybody. It's just like, hey, you know.
Yeah, I saw that.
Now you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now you know I looked at it. That's fine.
Hold me accountable for it.
I'm not like some guy that doesn't want you to know when I read something. I'll fucking might not answer you right away. I might, you know, look at it and then be like, okay, I'm going to answer that later. Or never. Really. But yeah, rough day, man. I don't know what I did today. I'm just crazy. Just crazy today.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound different than most days, I guess.
ABCD shows are nerve-wracking for me. I gotta say. I just never think anybody's gonna call. And I don't like flushing people. Makes me feel bad. Makes me feel bad to say wait 7 days. Always makes me feel bad when a dude calls, when a cis dude calls in. But, you know, usually about halfway through it, I'm like, this is fun, you know. It's a little privileged place for me too, where it's like there's only 2 cis dudes on the show, and me and Brett. So that's something. Yeah. You know, I'm like in a place of privilege right now.
It's true, and we still get to steamroll the shit out of them.
Yeah, yeah. We do have the microphones.
Yeah, that's the best part about doing the show.
Yep, doing podcasts, being the ones that have the microphones. I miss my guy this week though. I'm gonna miss my Google God guy.
Oh yeah, Echo 65.
Yeah, gonna miss him. But you know,
come back with a better.
See him next week. He'll have another crazy idea, and we will listen to it.
Yeah, we're here for it. Yesterday, I didn't do anything today. I watched NASCAR all day, which wasn't bad. But NASCAR is also becoming this thing where I do the same thing like you said. I'm like, if I lay down sideways, I'll just go right to bed. And like on the Sunday show, when it's like 6 or 7 o'clock, I just want it to be 1 hour later. But it's just like, please, can we just do the show now? Yeah. I'm sitting here with this axe swinging above my head all day long. I just want to do it, and then I just close my eyes for an hour.
Yeah.
I came so close to winning the fucking money today too.
Oh.
I picked the leader and I picked the winner, Byron, whatever. But yesterday we went to the Columbus Zoo.
That launched me into some shit. I'll tell you what. Woo, buddy.
For my daughter's birthday, we went to the Columbus Zoo. Columbus Zoo is doing nothing at all against coronavirus precautions, and nobody works there. It's like a public fucking park. We saw one employee the entire time we were there, and no suggestion that like the traffic should stay away from each other.
I like how they still scan the tickets and hand them back to you. It's just like little simple things they can do.
Yeah.
Like, just trust it. I'm not counterfeiting tickets, sir.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're trying to, verify that this is a real ticket. Trust me. I wouldn't counterfeit a zoo ticket. I don't want to be at the zoo ever. But,
Yeah, it was kind of out of character. When we pulled up, I was like, oh my God, why did I agree to do this? But when we decided to do it, it was 20 degrees. It was 7 degrees out, and there was snow everywhere. And I was hoping that it would be absolutely miserable, and we could just put on our best winter gear and go walk around. But it turned into like the most amazing, beautiful day, and tons of fucking people there. The biggest crowds I've been in a fucking year.
Didn't even know how to talk for the first hour I was there.
Yeah, you were shut up.
Yeah. I just got there and I was like, all of our friends were there and I haven't been around all of them at the same time in a long time. It's like, there's that feeling of like, what am I even going to talk about? What have I been doing? Nothing, really.
Yeah.
Just the show,
Yeah, our friend Adam that works in healthcare was saying to me that everybody got vaccinated at his place, so they're in the office, and he said he just stood there completely silent for like 45 minutes until like a director was like, "You're usually a pretty gregarious guy, man. What's going on?" He's like, "Oh, I didn't even realize. I've just been like stunned right now."
When I got there, I flipped. I just went fucking nuts when I got to the zoo. As I was walking up, I was like, this isn't safe. Actually, they're not being safe. It's outside. We didn't go to any of the indoor stuff there.
We came close, but we didn't.
We came very close until, we said, hey, you're not just making that decision for yourself there.
Right.
Making that decision for every single one of us. And yes, 3 of our friends are vaccinated. And yes, it was hard for me not to be pissed off at them for that. But it's the same thing with my mom. Every person that has a vaccine, you call into the show and tell me you have a vaccine, I'm going to be pissed off at you because I want it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
For sure.
I'm trying to get that Johnson & Johnson now. Just, if it doesn't work as good, just give it to me. Make me
You'll
feel
take the bootleg one?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I had an N95 mask on. I was safe. But most of the people there weren't safe. And it's funny because you have to put something over the loudspeakers at every place now that says how safe you are being. Right? It's like, we're fucking going nuts on this safety here. It's like everything's cleaned up. Stay 6 feet away from each other. You know what I mean? It's like we got all this and that and this, and it's like, no, you don't. You don't have any of that stuff. None of that's going on here at all.
Yeah, there was no precautions. There was I didn't even see there was no arrows on the ground. There was no markers. There was no etiquette of like, hey, how about you let this family gawk at this fucking cat for 4 minutes, and then when they move, your group moves up. It was just a complete clusterfuck.
And that's where I'm lucky, is I don't care to look at animals. You know what I mean? The whole time we were there, I was like, they were like, let's look at the wolves, and I'm like, those are just dogs. I see dogs all the time.
Yeah.
I walk around, I see dogs. Oh, I'll check out the polar bear. Oh, he's white. That was the big surprising thing, right? As every time I've ever seen a polar bear, I'm like, not as white as I thought it was going to be. Just not impressive to me. Always blonde.
That one was sweet. That looked like the National Geographic one.
It's very white. They probably dye its hair, though. It's the zoo. You know what I mean?
But also, you're seeing them in the summer mostly, and this is like their time to shine.
Yeah. I really want to see them feed some of these carnivores. I really want to see them throw a steak to those wolves.
Yes.
That's the kind of shit I want to watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there was a feeding night or something. They called it Feeding Frenzy, and you could pay extra money and leave the kids at home and get some sort of guerrilla IPA that made by Columbus Brewing Company or something.
And I could just bring my own steaks to throw at them.
You bring your own bait. That's what you're talking about?
Yep. I just throw a steak over, and it's like, look at that thing go. Look at that bear. He's excited.
Wow. Can you believe it?
Throw him a fish. Hey, there's a fish.
Yeah, see if they can catch it. Watch them flopping around, try to catch it.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love that. Or if you could somehow get the animals all to jack off or shit while I'm there.
Okay.
That would be another thing. Those are the two things. That's what Brett's wife was like, what are you excited to see? And I was like, I don't know. Maybe if we see an animal shit or jack off, one of the two, that'll be fucking really cool. But mostly I just don't care. You know, if I and even then when it's like seeing like a fucking a wolf shit isn't impressive to me. But if I saw the elephant take a shit, I'd be like, this is something, you know?
Yeah.
This is something.
Yeah, there's a video of a guy's head going up an elephant's ass, and that's pretty. I can watch that GIF over and over again.
That's something, you know. There's a lot of things that I would love to see animals do. They just don't do that at the zoo. They even clean up all the turds like right away.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's like I fucking go to the elephant cage and they just don't leave an elephant turd there. I was like, what are people even here for? That's what we're here to see. How big's that elephant turd? You know what I mean?
Yeah. That we saw a big ass grizzly bear, which was amazing.
Would have loved to have seen one of his
It was
turds.
fucking gigantic.
Yeah.
It blew me away. All the adults were like, "Holy shit!" Because it was right up against the glass.
Yeah.
Overall, though, zoos got to go, man. Those fucking animals look so miserable.
Yep.
I saw them dogs. If I had a dog, it would have a bigger cage than a whole fucking den of wolves. Man.
I know. Somebody looked at me that we were there with, and they had these reindeers, and they're like, "Those things can run 50 miles an hour." I was like, "Not in that pen, they can't."
Yeah, in a
They
circle.
can't get up to 10 miles an hour.
Yeah. Those reindeers were really chill, though. I remember the reindeers I remember forever is when we went to the library for Christmas a few years back. And they let kids pet the reindeers, and they just shove a bunch of pills in those fucking things' mouths or in their cheese treats or whatever. And this reindeer's eyes were just sticking out of its fucking head. It was blood red, and it was just like, it was just so out of its mind. It was just like in outer space, totally fucking galactic.
I do know that right now, though, I'm in this like glow. It's this anxious glow, like I just had unprotected sex after going to that thing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm really in that moment where it's like every day that goes by now, I'm like, I shouldn't have done that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, am I gonna get? Is this gonna be the thing that gives it to me?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a betting man. I think of it in terms of dice rolls. You know, it's a dice roll, and yes, you can get jackpot the first time. But I mean, just if you stop rolling the dice, you know, it lowers the chance.
Well, and also, like, I didn't take the mask off at all while I was there. Most everybody was wearing a mask. That was one of the other big things, because at the grocery store, everybody's wearing a mask.
Right.
You cannot go in there without a mask. You get out to the suburbs, maybe that's different.
Yeah.
You know? And I only saw a few people without masks, and I noticed that, like, when I see somebody without a mask now, I'm like, you're awful. I just feel your attitude is awful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just you got an awful attitude if you're not wearing a mask. I'm sorry. I mean, I guess if there's a health reason, but I saw a whole family without them.
Yeah.
I was like, the whole family doesn't have a health reason. You know?
I was not watching NASCAR today. The same thing was happening. They had everybody spread apart, but then there was just whole families not masked, and it's just why can't you cooperate? What is so special about you? Besides that you're just a gigantic asshole.
And again, like I read all the research and stuff, so I do feel like, you know, we were outside, we never went inside.
It was 2 hours.
It was 2 hours. We were all masked up, heavy masked up. I was heavy masked up. So I feel good about it. It just, like I said, I felt good about every time I had unprotected sex when I was younger too. I was like, oh, I feel pretty good about this. I mean, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then it's like, sometimes you're like, I might have AIDS.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
I feel like I feel nauseous today. This could be the disease that gets me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I would have all these panic attacks about stuff like, I think I'm going to have a kid. I'm 16.
Right.
Life's over. You know what I mean?
Time to get a job, right, guy.
And that's the way I've been like, that's the way I've felt for the past 24 hours. Just kind of on edge about my decision making. But again, you know, I got some really good cake pops out of the deal, so I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, that made it easy.
Yeah, those cake pops were fucking bonkers good. And I put them in there in my mask like a feed bag. You know what I mean? I just shoved them up in my mask, and then I'm up there just... I should have put 3 of them in my wife fucking snitched us out because you guys were trying to get rid of cake pops. So me and my daughter were just going up there and taking 4 at a time and putting them in her bag. She was like, we took a lot of cake pops. And we were fucking doing that. We didn't want everybody to know.
Yeah.
We were taking a lot of cake pops not because we thought we were going to get in trouble, because I don't want people to know how many cake pops I'm eating.
Sure. You didn't want to publicly announce how much everyone's taking.
Yeah. I don't need you to hear how many cake pops I've had.
Yeah, the one thing my mom is good at, and the one thing I really appreciate about her is on your birthday, she will make you any sweet you want, and it's good. She's not a bad baker. She's an excellent fucking baker.
Yeah, she's good.
And Charlotte loves cake pops, and she has mastered cake pops at this point. Those white ones tasted like fucking zebra cakes.
They were so good. So fucking good. She made the real
And
shit.
in true grandma style, made 60 of them for like a group of 19 people. Made 60 cake pops.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was great. Let's get some guys or some gals and non-binary pals on the air.
Yes.
See what they got to say.
This first one is somebody we know, Bloodberry Tart.
Oh, dip!
Where they?
I like Bloodberry Tart.
Oh wait, wrong one. They're calling in later. I'm sorry. I biffed. That's a flub. That's a huge flub. That's a huge flub on my part. This next one is from Punks Around. That's who it is. I'm sorry. Thank you for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight? And what are your pronouns?
This is Evan, and we're working with they, them.
All right.
What's
Thanks
up,
for calling.
Evan?
Yeah.
How's it going?
Hey, guys. Before I get into anything, I just want to offer up my services hanging up on cis dudes for you.
Okay.
I feel like that would be a really good job for me.
You know,
We can put you in charge of the call program maybe during these.
they are acting. They're
Great.
They're trying to help. I think that's the thing with it.
They're just aloof.
Yeah, they don't really know what's going on, and they just want to help us put the show on. You know what I mean? That's why I feel bad. But I am also, I wish I could find somebody to be, we'll get a sound clip of you when a cis dude calls in that says, nope, and hang up, you know? That can be the move. You can be a part of it.
All right. That sounds good to me. If I get some Cliff Bars out of it, man, I'm all set.
Yeah, we can send you some Cliff Bars. Of course, you know, they're expensive. The Cliff Bars, I bought a 6-pack of Cliff Bars for $14.
No, you didn't.
Ouch.
Are those
Did that
double sizes?
Make you sweat when I said that? Maybe it was $9.
I thought they were $2.
No. When you buy the 6-packs of them, you look at the price and you're like, you're out of your mind. It was maybe 6 or 8 of them and it was $14, and I bought it and I went like this. I didn't even eat them. I've had these fucking Cliff Bars for like 3 weeks and I'm just now breaking into them, you know? But I love
What
Cliff
flavor?
Bars. White chocolate macadamia nut. You know, my favorite flavor though out there is chocolate chip coconut. But, you know, they don't always have that one. I love coconuts. I wish I could express how much I love coconuts. So what's going on
I
tonight?
like
Oh, I want to hear
Oh.
this. No, I need to hear this. I need to hear what your favorite Cliff Bar is, of course, and then I can argue with you.
it's peanut butter.
Oh, the
see,
Butter
classic.
one.
I don't go in on those. I don't really go for that. I go blueberry crunch, I think is what it's called, and then
That's a crisp, my guy.
crisp. Yeah, but that really what they are, they're candy bars. You know, they can't be more because they wouldn't have them in such abundance at gas stations if they weren't candy bars. You know, they can't have any kind of good health properties to them.
Well, they've convinced people of it. I mean, there's someone doing a free solo right on the package.
I know. Well, Brian, could go to the store. I go to the store and I get a Cliff Bar. When I really want a Snickers bar, I feel like I've made a good decision.
You have. I mean, there's oats is a good thing to have.
Yeah.
I eat oats constantly, though. That's why I can't have those.
Yeah. It just feels like I've made the right decision when I make. It feels like I've made the right decision when I make the Cliff Bar decision, even though as I'm eating, I'm like, this is a candy bar. This thing rules. It tastes so good.
I think it's the peanut butter part that makes me think it's healthy. I'm like, this is protein.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I have the same. I'm the same. That's why peanut butter is my flavor too. Because I'm like, I don't want any sort of engineered fucking flavors or freeze dried food bits or any of that ascorbic acid to be blueberry shit. Peanut butter. Just grind up peanuts, put it with oats, make it stick together, and make it shelf stable. I'll munch on that.
Yeah.
It's hard on the jaw though, I'll say.
Well, and if you're thirsty,
It's intense. You think it's nothing. It looks like bullshit.
yeah.
It looks like this thing is bullshit. And then you go try to eat it and you're like, fuck, my mouth hurts.
If you're thirsty and you're just like, I'm gonna go ahead and eat this, and you're like, I can't believe how hard this is to eat. Like, this feels like that's why they're meal replacements.
Hearty.
They feel great. So yeah, Cliff Bars, get them.
It's a $14 workout.
It is a $14 workout.
You gotta get on Bobo's, man. That's the next most expensive one.
Bobo.
I love those Bobo's bars.
Those are good.
That's my road food when it's like we've been on the road for 6 hours and I have not have a significant amount of calories. The Bobo's will take care of that for me.
I gotta look at them, but if they're those one, like the oats and the Cliff Bars, why I get Cliff Bars. I just don't want one of those ones where
it's like nougat or something.
Not even nougat. Like a lot of those bars, man, will just be like fudge. They have like a fudge consistency, or a figs,
okay.
And I don't want that.
Okay.
I want a ball of oats or a bar of oats to put in my system to feel good about my choices. Again, when I really would want a Snickers bar, I get a Cliff Bar. It's that, you know what it is? It's the eat this, not that diet.
Yep. Hey, it works.
All
Whatever.
right.
Yeah, whatever makes you feel good about yourself, I support you.
That's what I'm talking about.
I wish there was a clean segue into my terrible boss story. There just isn't.
Well, we don't need that.
I never worked for Cliff.
Bad boss,
I just wanted
though.
to talk about.
I can guarantee Cliff is a bad boss.
Cliff seems like a horrible boss. They're like, we bought you rock climbing lessons. What are you complaining about?
Yeah. Well, I've had so many jobs, so many terrible jobs with terrible people, but the short highlight that I'll give is I worked at a pizza place, like a Sicilian Al Forno spot, and the owner would not let us keep our tips because he said that the customers were tipping for his recipes, not for our service.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
So
wow.
he withheld our tips. And I was eventually let go because I wasn't flirting enough with customers, which I guess means I wasn't bringing in enough tips for his recipes.
What the?
And he.
That is.
The worst.
Oh God! Go ahead. Sorry.
No,
I can't handle it. I'm on my heels right now.
It's awful, and I'm sorry to say that it does kind of get worse because he's a very creepy old man, an old Sicilian man. Not that being Sicilian makes you creepy, just he was both creepy and Sicilian. And I would keep, a rag in my jeans to wipe off my hands and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And he called it my rabbit's tail, and he would always kind of like honk it, like my little bunny,
no.
my bunny tail.
No. Oh no! This is not Hugh Hefner's place.
No, not remotely. That restaurant incidentally burned down. It was not me. I did not burn it down.
So some sort of cosmic justice.
Yeah, I'll say. And when I heard that, it was just a shrug that they got out of me for it. It was like, well, had it coming. Hope nobody got hurt.
Okay. So how many times did he have to explain that he's keeping the tips for the recipe? Was that did everybody have that same conversation? Like, is he fucking with me, or do we really not get the money that people put in that jar?
Oh no, we really didn't get the money. I never heard it. I never heard it directly from him. This guy, the owner, he would come in periodically, but it was his son that kind of ran the day to day.
Oh.
So it was his son that was the one who told me, no, because I've worked at enough places where it's like, they would keep the tips until the weekend, and then you just get this pile of cash at the end of the week or whatever. But so when I went looking for my tips, where are those? Nope, you don't get those. Those aren't for you.
What was the pay?
I want to say something like 11 an hour.
Okay. Not minimum. That not an excuse, but I was just wanting to see how low they could go,
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, I wonder, because the idea of a tip, first of all, the tip is not really for the food. The people that make the food are supposed to be making more than the tipped minimum wage. And you should be the tip is for the service.
I mean, this is established, and we're giving the tip to the employees. Never once did I don't tip the delivery driver like, hey, thanks for bringing Famous Sal's Pizza right to my house. Here, give him this $5 and tell him I said thanks.
I wonder if the business was just doing really fucking shitty, and he was just like, I need all the money I could get.
Sounds insurance fraud. Doesn't seem like a good option.
Or tax. Like some tax thing.
Yeah, he might have burned his own business down. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he does sound like a guy that was fucking around. I mean, keeping the tips like that, it's a cat. First of all, it's definitely a tax thing that he's doing. It's untaxed money, right? Like, so you get the tips. He gets to keep them. He doesn't have to claim that money. He can spend that money on anything he wants. You know?
Right.
And that's probably what it is, would be my guess. And then, yes, when the place did burn down, I would not put it past a guy like that comes up with these reasons. I don't know how he's spending his money, but it sounds like when you're keeping the tips that your business is just doing bad, and you're like, I gotta get the fuck out of this thing.
You're spending too much money. If you're taking from your employees like that, you're fucked. You're just. And so, how many people work there?
It was a small crew. I would say there were probably 5 of us, and it was an open kitchen, so everybody worked the register and also cooked and did dishes and bussed and cleaned and all that kind of stuff. So, and everybody else just seemed to roll with it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't explain it.
You have to.
People, it's either it's like, because it's one of those things where you have to just neutralize it, where like, if I don't agree with this, that means I have to leave this job, and I'm kind of okay with this miserable place. It's
right.
That's kind of where the mindset goes. But then the flirting requirement is just outrageous. I mean, you can't, that's one thing, also something you can't just say that out loud. I don't think you can just say that out loud.
No. I mean, I don't think you can keep tip. I just don't understand how the first time he kept the tips, just that first time he looked somebody in the face.
Yeah.
He was like, no, I keep these. The oregano I put in here is really where those tips are coming from. I put a certain amount of oregano in that other people don't put in. You know, that's what people are tipping for.
Yeah.
I'll say 2 of the employees were brothers, and they were undocumented. And so I feel like he's probably taking advantage.
Yep, absolutely. That's exactly where that stuff comes in.
Yep. Yeah. Yes, that absolutely makes sense.
Yeah, my mom worked catering with undocumented people, and they weren't paying them overtime. They weren't paying. Everybody else that was on the books was getting time and a half for these fucking outrageous schedules, and they were getting paid the same for 50, 60-hour work weeks, 10, 12-hour days. I mean, that's very common. And the awful people that own a business and conduct themselves like that, they do know there is somebody that's desperate enough to fill in the cracks,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I
One of
worked.
those brothers offered me money to marry them, actually, so that they could stay. And I would have made way more money doing that.
Yeah.
My wife had that offer. Yeah, my wife had that offer too when she was younger, and she just talks about it probably once a year, where she was just like, God damn it, would have been so much money at a time when I needed it more than anything in the world.
Oh, was it a decent money?
Yeah, tens of thousands.
Oh, man, I would have done it.
Yep.
I remember one time a guy was like, hey, you co-sign on my truck there's no way this guy paid his truck payment, right? But he was like, co-sign on this truck for me, and I'll give you $500. And I fucking gave them all of my information.
Oh, you did?
I got on the phone. I gave them all my information. I was just 18 though. I didn't have any credit. And they turned me down. But man, I was right. He said he didn't even have to finish the sentence. He was just like, "Will you co-sign?" Yep. $500. Yep. Mm-hmm. I will do that. And I gave the guy my info. I didn't even have a job at the time. The guy was like, "No, you can't co-sign for anything."
Yeah.
But yeah, I probably would have maybe married somebody. I'm gonna fucking marry somebody now.
Yeah.
It'd be a polycule.
We exploit our bodies for less.
Yeah,
you know?
It's true.
So why not?
$60,000 I will marry. So I will start a polycule where I'll just marry somebody and
You
they
can't.
can move into the house.
It's against the law.
You can't have
gotta
a
divorce your
polycule?
wife.
That's against the law?
No, marriage. You can't marry more than one person.
Yeah, that's bigamy.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were allowed to do polycules now. I thought you were
Yeah,
allowed
you
to
can.
be poly now.
Yeah, you can.
Not if you're married.
You're welcome to live however you want, but you can't marry anybody you want.
That's not
Not
right.
marry as many people as you want.
I would get into like a protesting thing for that, but I'm afraid of the people I'd be protesting with.
Yeah. You're gonna have to go to Utah for that.
It still should be legal, though.
I think it should be legal. I would marry 15 people, really, but that's probably what they worry about.
Yeah, that's what like we would get married so that our like financial fates are tied together, and like
Sure.
we can claim bankruptcy together. You know, we can do
Not
gifting,
hurting anybody.
all kinds of bank scams. Yeah, rich people would go crazy. They'd be married to everybody in the country.
I mean, especially in
The
like
tax
COVID
laws.
times, the vibes around the house could use some shaking up. You know what I mean? We could use somebody moving in. Not the sex vibes, I don't mean, but just the pure vibes around the house. It's like me, Katie, and Gwen, you know, we just watch TV all day. It's like, you know, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to maybe have a few, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to have like some nice person move in and
That's
and
just a
give you some money.
roommate. That's a roommate.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want a roommate though. I had a roommate once. And you know what? If
You
I
would
did,
marry somebody and let them live in your house, not have sex with them, but you will never have a roommate.
I had a roommate and it didn't go well. Well, I've had a few roommates and it didn't go well, but the first time it was my fault it didn't go well. The second time it was the other person's fault it didn't go well. And secondly, I'd have to give up my office. That's where I wouldn't do it. But I
Okay.
would marry somebody for like $60,000.
Okay.
I fucking would totally marry somebody for 60 grand to stay in the country to pay my student loan debt off. And then I would marry a second person for another 60 grand to pay Katie's student loan debt off. I would do that. What's the big deal?
You got to divorce Katie.
Right, but we would still be
Right.
together. You know what I mean?
All
That's
right.
$120,000 there, Brett.
Sure.
That'd change my life.
Find the deal.
I'd be debt free. That's what Dave Ramsey should be talking about.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, I don't think anything.
Probably improve your mental health.
Well, this boss sounds like a fucking asshole.
Yeah, the worst.
Yeah.
So did he do?
I'm just agreeing with you.
Did he do the bunny thing with anybody else?
I never saw the bunny thing happen with anybody else.
Ugh. Yeah.
It's so creepy. I would hate to be like just being who I am and looking the way I do, which by the way, you got my Twitter today and see what I looked like when I was younger, which actually coincidentally looks 10 years older than I am now. than I look now. But like people just never cross the line. Like being a dude, it's so easy because people just don't really cross the line with you. You know what I mean? Like bosses don't like grab your booty or anything like that or expect anything gross out of you. Like that's like that I think is like maybe the ultimate privilege. And I also think that it's the kind of privilege that like that's why men don't understand like how that's one that men don't super understand that they have. Like, I didn't know until I was in my late 30s. Like, because I just never listened to a woman in my life.
Don't say that out loud.
But in my late 30s, you know, when
He's bad at time, everybody too.
What?
You're talking 4 years ago?
Yeah.
We were doing this show, man.
No, you know what I mean though. Like in my mid 30s then. But I'm saying that like I didn't really listen to a lot of women and like just hearing like finally finding out like, you know, the reason Gwen doesn't work as a teenager is because I don't want her to get harassed by some guy. You know, I don't want her to be working with adults harassing her. And like, you know, the way teachers treat them, the way fucking parents treat them. My sister always had an earlier curfew than me. She's barely even a year. She's like almost younger than me. My dad would be like, no, you don't understand. Girls have earlier curfews because bad things can happen to them. And it's just like stuff like that is like just stuff I never thought about until I got way older and old enough to understand. And I like think of all the people in their 20s who are like, this male privilege bullshit is stupid. My wife makes me do all the work. You know what I mean? She makes me mow the grass. She don't want to mow the grass and stuff like that. You're just like, you are just missing the point. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And from my perspective, you know, I've always presented as masculine as possible, but that doesn't stop people from seeing me as a feminine person, like whatever. So, yeah, I can't stop the harassment, and it makes me feel some type of way, and I can't explain to the person, hey, so you think I'm a girl, and I'm not. And their head would explode probably if I told them that, but I don't have the guts because they might punch me. I don't know.
Yeah, and even just like, I would imagine for you, it's like, I don't want to explain this like 500 times a day. It's the same. It's not the same, but it's like when somebody asks me what I do for a living in normal years, you know, when we're touring and all that stuff, we're doing all this different stuff. I'm always just like, you know, I'm a podcaster, but I also do this and I also do that and this. And it becomes like this very confusing thing. Like, because I try not to leave anything out because I feel like a loser when I say I'm a podcaster or whatever. But it does have to be a thing when especially as non-binary, as presenting as non-binary, having they, them pronouns, like there has to be like several times a week where it prompts a kind of in-depth response where somebody's got 250 million questions for you. And honestly, you gotta be like, I don't feel like doing this right now.
Oh yeah. And cis people don't have to do that. They don't have to explain themselves ever.
Yeah.
So
No, it's easy. Yeah, you never have to explain like, I mean, and it seems like once you learn about it the first time, it's like such an you could go online and read about what it is to be non-binary or what it means and like get a pretty clear idea of it and just like do that. Why do people always feel like they got to engage in a fucking dialogue? The most annoying people in the world are the ones that are just like, I could go read about this, but I think I'm just going to ask you 250 questions about it.
Right. I'll harass you instead.
For free.
And we're going to have a dialogue. We're going to have a debate on your existence. You know what I mean? Like, we're just going to sit, like, that seems like a really, that seems like such a fucking pain in the ass. You know. I'm glad people
the
though.
struggle continues.
Yeah, but I'm glad people are like more comfortable coming out and stuff now than like it feels like it's moving in the right direction. It just feels like there's this thing of like people expecting you so much out of you. Like so much more out of you than you should ever have to give, other than to say, this is who I am and this is the type of person I am and that's it. You know what I mean?
Totally. Well, I wanted to plug real quick. I do a podcast with two cis dudes, and so I'm kind of the relief, the cis relief, or the non-cis relief, rather. But we're a leftist podcast. It's PLR, Providence Leftist Radio, and I mean, you know, the other two guys are wonderful people. I love them so much. They're very educated. They read a lot of theory, You
Talk to
know,
women in their
they
20s and
have
listen
their-
to them.
Yeah.
I thought you got. At first, I
I'm
thought
not
you
doing a
said.
good job of plugging it.
I thought at first you said the PLUR podcast, like Plur, and I was like, oh, okay, bringing that back. You know, that was like a drug thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, rave.
Yeah.
Peace, love, unity, respect.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's also cool. Those are two cool things. But PLR podcast,
Providence Leftist Radio.
Providence, Rhode Island, Providence Leftist Radio. And yeah, so, you know, we talk about all kinds of things. This week especially, Hasbro in Rhode Island, the toy company, took away the Mr. and Mrs. from the potato head.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's just a gender-neutral potato head.
Yep.
So I had a lot of thoughts to share on that.
All hell broke
And,
loose.
my family had a meltdown.
oh goodness. What are you supposed to tell the kids?
What if I supposed that potato head always had a penis? What the hell? Yeah, that's so weird. It's so weird that people get mad about like it just being. It's a potato head, you know. It's not even a person. It's a potato head with feet. They aren't even bothered that it doesn't have a body. It just has 2 feet under its chin. Let's talk about that.
Also, it's a more exciting thing to compare non-binary people to. Also, I don't like being compared to a potato.
No.
Yeah,
And nobody was yelling, God damn, I wish this Mr. Potato Head would just be Potato Head either. Like Hasbro thinks.
Yeah, we didn't ask for that.
I know. Hasbro is like, we're doing the right thing. We're doing the right thing. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, nobody cares the gender of the potato head. I don't think anybody does.
I want health care.
Yeah.
Maybe now if someone says they them pronouns, what does that mean? You say I identify as a potato. Think of me like a potato. I guess that's the new bar. Yeah, that sucks.
Well, when you see clothing designed for gender neutral people, it usually looks like a sack that potatoes come in. So it all fits.
Yeah, it's hard. We have kids around us, and we try to explain that stuff. We have a really smart 8-year-old niece that is just like, why are there boys' clothes and why are there girls' clothes? It's ridiculous. And she'll get on like her soapbox all day about it. Same with the toys and stuff too.
I love that.
But it's like the toys, the gender of a toy was something that I never was concerned. I just don't have the time for that.
Just it's a toy. Toys. We're yelling about toys, you know? It just seems like but what it really it feels like a very cynical sort of like get Hasbro in the news move. You know what I mean? Get Hasbro in the news for the right reasons. Conservatives will go nuts about it. So then the people on the other side will make fun of the conservatives and now everybody's involved on the news, you know, on the potato head discourse.
Meanwhile, trans people are just trying to exist.
Yeah.
Not be discriminated against.
Yeah. It is funny, though. I had not heard anybody say, like, I don't know. I don't think I need to be compared to a potato.
Yo, non-binary people are like the most colorful, wonderful people.
Yeah, you're right.
Compare us to these potatoes.
Yeah, and they're not going to ship. Here's the other thing. But before you go, here's what I think too. They're not going to ship the Mr. Potato Head or the new potato heads with all of the parts. You're still going to get the Mr. parts and the Mrs. parts in separate packs.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Yeah. Like, how are they going to?
You got to buy them. You got to spend money.
Yeah. Are they
Pink
going to
tax
fucking? Are they just going to take all the parts from the potato heads and fucking put them all in the pack now? Like, is there a difference? Like, how are they selling? Are they just getting away with doing less work now?
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever even seen a potato head in stores. That's one of those things that just always like was somewhere.
I mean, you're always stepping on in somebody's house.
Yeah, go to the fucking thrift store if you want one. They have one in a gallon freezer bag for 99 cents. They've made enough of them already.
Yeah, we don't need any more potato heads. But they needed to sell some potato heads. Yeah. Stock prices going down. We got to sell some potato heads.
They're going to bundle it with a Ruth Bader Ginsburg coloring book.
Yes. Ruth Bader Ginsburg would have loved the new potato head. That's
I'm
for sure.
We all do. I think it's fine
It's fine.
to have a Mix's
It's just
potato
silly.
head.
It's just a silly thing. All right. Well, thanks for calling in.
Yeah, I appreciate
It was
it.
fun. We
Thank you, guys.
covered a lot of space there.
That's right. Let me know about that job hanging up on cis guys.
Okay.
Will you?
Okay, yeah.
We will.
Oh,
We will.
also, I forgot. Also, for people that want to know, I am doing the Providence the PLR podcast on March 27th. We're scheduled to record. So
right.
if you subscribe now, you'll hear it eventually.
Oh, I'm doing the and introducing podcast on March 10th. So there you go.
That's not relevant.
No, I was just
Yay.
saying I'm
All
doing
the
a
loser
podcast
podcasters come together.
too. Thanks for calling.
Thank you, guys.
Peace.
I was just being funny. I was just saying I'm doing a podcast too.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Thank you. The potato head thing. Didn't
I know.
even consider that part, that they were just like the potato head's non-binary now. It's like
It's such, for me, inside of myself, thinking about being attached to things like the Land O'Lakes butter mascot or Aunt Jemima or a potato head feels so empty. It
I
feels
know.
like the most empty life. And it feels so weak that if they can take the Mr. or Mrs. off of a potato head, it sends you into a fury. You look like a weak ass to me.
I don't know, man. I am really like, what is the fucking, I mean, potatoes don't have genders. It's like they were yelling, Mr. Potato Head is a man. And it's like, no, Mr. Potato Head's a fucking potato. But again, it's like, what's Hasbro doing? Well, like, what is the ulterior motive for Hasbro? You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, sell more potato heads. I mean, it will spark a buying frenzy, I guess, at some point. But it's also a cool thing to do. I mean, I don't mind saying that, like, it's fine. Like, I like my daughter to play with toys like that don't assign genders to everything.
Not Bobbies?
Huh?
Bobbies.
She loves Bobbies.
Yeah.
We need.
Well, mine loved Bobbies too.
Barbies are bad, but it's her favorite thing in the world. They do need to update the Barbies, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, kids, I don't know, man. My daughter loved Barbies. She loved, like, taking care of babies and stuff like that. That was just her whole thing. It's like I was always trying to be more woke about it and be like, hey, you know, check out a G.I. Joe or something. You know what I mean? Just trying to push her in more gender-neutral territory, but she was just like, no.
G.I. Joe isn't that... I guess
No,
is that gender-neutral?
I fucked up, but I always did try to push her in...
Well, both sides, yeah.
In those kind of different territories, but she was always just like, I like Hannah Montana, you know, I watch iCarly all day. I don't like boy stuff. And I was like, all right, whatever, man. I'm not going to argue with you.
Right.
I'm not going to, like, argue. You know,
No,
it's like,
no.
whatever you're into, go fucking be into it.
Yeah,
you know?
that's all it should be. It doesn't really matter. It's not really, it doesn't hinder the way I interact with some. Like, it shouldn't have affect the way
Well, I'll
that
get
I
hot
interact
now.
with somebody.
I will get hot under the collar now when you say Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah, that's time.
Just like, you know, if you say Mr. Potato Head, I'm going to be like,
You're in trouble.
Motherfucker.
You're in big trouble.
You son of a
You'll be at the dad's
fucker.
group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go into the chat. Like, Brett said Mr. Potato Head. And I was sick to death about it. And what are they going to do with Toy Story? They got to edit Toy Story now? It's just a whole big mess, you know?
Yeah. I don't know.
It's a fucking
It's unfortunate.
potato, dude.
They're tearing apart the fabric of American society.
I know. You're right, though. It is so weak.
Social
He's
Marxism.
Freaking out about fucking the syrup lady. It's just like, who cares? I don't give a fuck
pathetic.
about the syrup. That's our culture. Our culture is Mr. Potato Head and the syrup lady. That's our culture.
Native Americans make the butter. That's what it is. That's what it's always been.
They
It's like-
say they say that Native Americans or indigenous peoples really like the Land O'Lakes lady. They always say that.
Oh yeah. She was real popular.
Yeah, or Aunt Jemima was really popular with like
Yeah.
older black moms and shit. It's like, no, nobody cares.
Stop.
It's like they're not making a movie about
No
it. or
one
anything.
noticed. No one noticed.
Yeah, people will buy Mrs. Butterworth too if it's on sale. They just but when we're talking about fucking Land O'Lakes or we're talking about like the syrup, they just buy the one that's on sale.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Those
Which one has a
brands-
coupon?
Yeah, those brands
Which one's
are
on the Ibotta?
Yeah, those brands are literally like, oh, the Mrs. Butterworth's on sale this week. That's what I'm gonna buy.
Yeah.
Nobody is like, oh my god, they're out of Aunt Jemima.
What?
I don't know.
She's the only one I can trust with my pancakes tasting so sweet. Nobody else can pour out corn syrup and make it an amber color.
Yeah, and the butter one's even more ludicrous. It's like the butter. It's butter. Just buy people buy whatever butter's $3 instead of $4.
Yep.
That's all it is.
$2.99 and $3.99. Well, I'll go $2.99 this time.
Yeah, I choose
go $2.99 every
Thank you.
time.
Yeah.
Which one's 2 for $5?
Yeah,
and it's all right. Well, let's get this next call. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight? What's your pronouns? Howdy.
Hey, what's up?
Hey guys, this is Anna. This is Anna Asteroid from Kansas City.
Oh, cool.
What's up, Anna? How's it going tonight?
It's really good. I'm glad to hear this is an ABCD show. I was very excited to call in tonight because we have some cool stuff going on in town with, particularly the homeless people in town. They've unionized, which I'm very excited about. And I'm excited. Yeah, that
what
was
does that
one of
mean?
the things I wanted to call in. Well, they've taken up residents of City Hall primarily. And their goals are to take up space and to make people notice them until things change.
All right.
Because if people are not uncomfortable, they won't change things. So I've got a couple of funding links for them that I'm really excited to share.
Yeah.
And then Casey Mutual Aid is another group that I work with as well. I'm a little nervous. Sorry, guys.
No, you're doing great. I didn't notice at all.
So for the Homeless Union, their donation link is at MW Homeless Collective. And then for Casey Mutual Aid, it's just at Casey Mutual Aid. And we have Casey Mutual Aid has a couple cool projects with meal programs and a community gardening project that we've been working on. And we would love any support that Street Fighters would be willing to throw our way.
That's great. Yeah. Where's this at again?
In Kansas City, Missouri.
Oh, man. Kansas City is a great place.
Smells good.
Smells
Best smelling
good.
place in the country.
Lots of good ass Street Fighters are from there. Yeah.
Yeah. We've got some good folks here, and we would love to see anybody else around that wants to support.
For sure. That's great. And how many people are at City Hall right now?
I think right now, regularly, they have about 20 people that are staying there as of their, day-to-day occupation.
Yeah.
And then they have between 40 or 50 additional that are coming through there as, an outpost. So any resources that are getting sent to there are getting to the 20, 25, 30 people or so there daily, and then additional ones, too.
Yeah, 20 is a big number. That's a sizable number. Like a one-person protest does not work. I'm just going to say that you're not going to make a big change. But that's a sizable group, especially if you can get people to come and help out through the day. That's really good. I'm glad to hear that.
It is really cool. And as of I think 3 days from now, I'm not trying to boost a whole bunch of signal to it because we don't want City Hall to do a sweep. But as of March 2nd, they'll have official squatters' rights. So, the people that have been occupying the lawn at City Hall will be able to claim City Hall as their, official legal address, and they'll, be able to use, the people's house as a place to get mail and a place to, establish actual communication. And it's been a pretty inspiring thing to follow, and I would absolutely encourage people to support that if they can.
Yeah, that sounds incredible.
That's cool. 20 people staying somewhere is big.
Yeah, they are. There's 20 or so people staying there, and then there's a couple other places in town that are auxiliary camps, and anything that is overflow for the initial camp will go to those. But hygiene items, monetary donations, food items, clothing items, anything like that is welcome. And for the Homeless Union, it's at MW Homeless Collective, and then Casey Mutual Aid also has a program where we're helping support them, and it's at Casey Mutual Aid. And it's really cool to see what they're doing down there.
MW Homeless Collective, and what was the other one?
Mm-hmm. The other one is at Casey Mutual Aid.
CASEY?
No, KC.
Casey.
Oh,
Kansas
KC.
City.
I thought you meant like your dude
Kansas,
Casey.
Casey. No, yeah, just the letters. Just KC Mutual Aid. Yeah, those are the donation links for me.
Great. I'll put those in the chat.
Well, that's great. It's good to hear good news.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't want to take up too much of you guys' time, especially on an ABCD show, but yeah. Hope you guys have a good night.
Thanks for calling. We will.
We appreciate it. Thanks for all the help and with the group and everything. You're for always having good stuff to say.
Sure. You guys are the best. I hope to talk to you later.
Peace.
Okay. Bye.
All right. That's a good one. I like to hear that.
Yeah, that sounds good. Homeless Union. Never heard of something like that, but I guess it's like a tenants union.
Right.
Both are good, so yeah. I'm down.
And it is, I mean, there has to be something different. I was thinking today about like the Joe Biden presidency and all that, and how like the police brutality issue has been going on since like the beginning of the country. It's not like they figured it out for a little bit. It's not like they figured it out in 1970 and it's just become a problem now. It's just been going on forever. Democrats have been there the whole time and they're not doing anything about it. They can't be the ones that we find change through.
Yeah.
I can't have you saying, well, Joe Biden's cabinet is very diverse, because it doesn't matter how diverse the cabinet is going to perpetuate houselessness.
Yeah.
And that's something we have to tackle in a serious way.
Mm-hmm.
But, America's a rotten place. Next call. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight? And what's your pronouns?
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Bobby from Seattle.
Howdy.
What's up, Bobby? How's it going?
Oh, bartender Bobby?
Yeah, bartender Bobby.
Oh,
What's
thank
going
you.
on?
Thanks for calling in.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm still waiting on my shirt, by the way, just so you know. Just so you know. I was like, hold on. I sent my info over. Where is my shirt?
I'm very scatterbrained. I will get it to you, definitely. Just, you got to message me one more time, and that's it. And I'm going to spoil you.
It's all good. I trust you guys. You're all the best. I love listening to you all. It's just fun. I know you all go through phases, so there's maybe a couple of months where I can just like sense that like you're not here for it. Like Brian's not here for it, Brett's not here for it, but you're like doing this for the community. Mm-hmm. So you kind of have it's like you're doing, it's like we have to do this for the people. And there's other times where we're doing this because, oh, that's right, we love to do this. And now you guys are in a groove where it's like, we're doing this because we like are having fun doing this. And I like that.
That's great. I'm really happy to hear you say that. I mean, that verifies my feelings too, where I desperately want to be into it. And like when we're firing on all cylinders and something great happens, I'm just like, oh God, that was so fun. That was so cool to do. And then there's just these lulls and you just try to navigate out of them. But there's big ruts in my life, Yeah.
I mean, and y'all, everybody should get to have that. I mean, in any job, no matter what you do, everybody goes through ins and outs, ups and downs. There's times where you don't want to do it and, you don't really feel it. So I don't ever hold you guys. I was just kind of be like, okay, I'm going to give them a break. Let's give them a month break. Then I'll jump back in and then we'll see where we're at. Because no matter what, I know you're awesome. But so anyways, I just want to say I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you too.
What was I gonna say? I was gonna tell you. Okay. So we have two things here. Do you want to know about my? Okay. So I'm Bobby. I'm gay, black from Seattle. Gay black guy from Seattle. So loud and annoying. You guys we can either talk about my shitty roommate, or my shitty like white Canadian roommate, or we could talk about my neighbor who became my boss. I started working for him for 2 months at his woodworking shop, and then all the chaos that ensued afterwards. Why you should never work for your neighbor. Yeah, I got 2 good ones.
Yeah, those both sound juicy. How do you feel, Brian?
Yeah.
The second one?
The neighbor,
sounds
yeah. I think the
good.
neighbor sounds good.
You want
yeah.
the neighbor?
Yeah, neighbor
one?
stuff is good. Yeah.
Ooh, this is good. Okay. So when I say neighbor, like, I mean, I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. So usually, like, if you have neighbors, you're like, oh, you don't really have to see them because they're in the house kind of, you know, on like the next property over. This is Seattle. So we're talking about someone who's like 50 feet in front of my window. And I just moved into this place in September. So this guy, Jared, he's the same age as me. Like, I'm 36, he's 36. And we just started talking in the driveway as I was moving in, and he was saying how he owned a woodworking shop. And I love woodworking. It is the straightest thing about me. I love fucking woodworking. It's just so much fun.
Yeah, it's
and
neat.
I was like, hey, you know, I was like, hey, can I come work with you sometime? You know, you don't have to. I don't want any money. I just want to know. I want to be like almost like an apprentice. You know what I mean? Like, I want to just be trained on how to use all the tools correctly, and, you know, joints and stuff like that. You know, and I showed him some things I'd already done, and he agreed to it. Right. So, like, 2 days a week, I would go work with him, and I'd ride with him. Everything was cool for like a month, and we'd go work together. But he's a white cis guy from Idaho.
Okay.
You know, he's like, his dad's an architect, his mom was a nurse. Like, they always had money. I'm the exact opposite, complete hot mess of a life.
But you got along well enough,
parents.
like out front, in front of the house.
Yeah, but we clicked. But the problem started to happen where it was during the time when it's like September, October time. So it was like getting real hot with all the presidential stuff, and then the rioting and you know, the protests and all that stuff. So it got real tense between us.
Oh.
And it was almost like he was uncomfortable. I felt like he was uncomfortable. And he wouldn't, I don't know, he was just being real weird about it. And like, I felt like he didn't trust me and stuff. So, and I lived right next to him, which is odd. So
yeah,
I was hanging out. Yeah.
You got the, I mean, if you live in the neighborhood with them, like you got the same level of you got the same level going there, you know. He's not like coming from a mansion to pick you up, you know. He's doing the same thing you are. But so you think it has to be the election then, right? Because it was getting closer to November.
Right. So, okay.
He just thought you were a Biden person, you think?
Well, the thing is, so he is total Biden. He would ask me all these, you know, great questions. He was really honest. You know, when we came like to race, he, you know, would actively listen to what I was saying about, you know, like Black culture and how Black people are treated. And he never argued with me on anything. You know, he wasn't like a closeted, you know, Trumper or Republican. He was super open-minded, but it was his wife that's the problem. Well, she's still the problem. Oh. And so his wife, who works for Starbucks, so I would go over there, you know, once a week and they would invite me over to hang out and drink. And I don't really drink. I make drinks, you know. That's why I do so good at my job, because I don't really drink. So I would go over there and hang out, and she would get shit-faced drunk. And I would have like one of those seltzer fucking things, or those things like
White Claw,
those seltzer drinks. Yeah, you know, she's a white girl, but she's basic as fuck.
Sure.
So
I'm living basic.
Of course,
well.
they got a whole shelf of fucking White Claws, and she's just drinking all vodka and everything. And then, so once it would get after a few hours, she would want it. Of course, it would go into this whole. She would go in this whole spiel about, we got to get rid of this Trump and da da da. Like, okay. And I would always say, like, he's not your problem. You know this, right? You do understand that he's not the problem. She's like, no, I mean, I get it. Like, I understand, but, you know, we're talking about, like, my rights, you know, and this is right before RBG died. and she's like, it's about rights, and they're going to take away my rights and all this stuff. I said, sweetie, you're freaking out about someone taking away your rights. I'm black. I never even had rights. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, bitch?
Wow. So it was the other direction. You had a write-in with Biden person that just wanted to be like, but come on, voting for Biden is the best thing that we can do, right?
Oh my God, yes. It was like talking to like a MSNBC fucking personality. That's what it was. And she works on like the social media, something with social media. Like she gets like influencers and stuff. They do all the promotions and stuff for Starbucks. And so she gets to decide, you know, what influencers they're going to pick and pay and what they want them to promote. And so she was saying how, I said, so how do y'all choose, do you have black people? Do y'all get black influencers? Like, oh yeah, we get black people and stuff too. I said, so like, how do you choose them? And it was really awkward. And she was like trying to like mansplain it, like trying to white-splain it to me, how Starbucks goes about picking influencers to promote their product, and it was weird. And
sounds like
so
some
I wasn't
Damon
with
shit.
it. Yeah, I wasn't with it at all. You know what I mean? I wasn't here for it. And after that, Jared and I were still really cool, but she just started ignoring me, and we just stopped talking. Like, I mean, I didn't think there was a problem, but I guess there was. And they legit completely, what's it called? Like they iced me out completely. Like I don't even exist.
Just
anymore.
cold shoulder.
Cold turkey, cold shoulder, like nothing.
Let me say this though, and I'm not defending them. You really ruined her good time though.
I know.
You fucked your life up.
I know.
She had somebody over that she was like, there's no way this person can disagree with me on my politics. It's just fucking no possible way. I'm as woke as they come. I'm a Biden supporter. I like RBG. I'm great. And I think like that happens to a lot of these white ladies online and stuff, is that you ruin their time. They're trying to be woke. Yeah. They're trying to feel good. They're trying to do the right fucking thing. You know what I mean? But then you show up and you're like, well, maybe maybe RBG was bad. She said some. Did you see what she said about Colin Kaepernick? You know what I mean? And then they're like, oh, get out of here. I bought 15 RBG shirts. Now you're telling me she's racist.
Yeah, it sounds like people going on California wine trips that are like, I do it for the culture. That's why I'm a part of the Starbucks influencers program. Is because I'm in charge. And most of these white people don't do this, but I choose black people to be a part of our campaign. Okay, that's when it just sounds like you burst her bubble so fucking bad.
I mean, I've been and this is just me, like a white dude. But I've been in situations where a conversation has slowly gone downhill, and then the other person's yelling at me for the same sort of thing. Another person who maybe reads The Atlantic, thinks they believe all the right things, thinks that they're intellectual. That's another thing that I was thinking about this yesterday, actually. Liberals also believe that they are smarter than you.
That's true.
They chose the right thing. And because I was a liberal at a point in my life, like I always thought like, well, when you compare the way I think to the way Republicans think, I'm like the smartest guy in the fucking world. You know what I mean? I don't have any wrong opinions. Everything's right. And then you realize later on, it's like, well, the Democrat, let's start comparing ourselves to the way the Democrats and the Republicans think. Because they think that they've staked out all the right positions, and they think that they've read all the right stuff and they've seen all the right documentaries. Is really what it is, and you go over there.
Especially in this city.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Seattle. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It is funny, though. It sucks that it ended up like
with the dude not, kind of like ghosting you.
I loved Jerry. He was like my best friend. And we got so close. Like I made such a really good connection with him. And just because her and I and it wasn't even like an argument. It was just because even everyone in the room understood what I was saying. There was two lesbians and this other girl that they call her they're a throuple and Jerry. Everyone was on they were all like, we get what he's saying. And she just kept going on and on about my rights. And I was like, girl, what are you talking about? Your rights? Who do you think you are? Bitch, you are from some suburb in South Jersey, bitch. You are into ska. Bitch, you were in a ska band when you got out of high school. You can't tell me shit about struggle, bitch. Like, what the fuck are you talking to? Like, what do you know?
So how did it end? Like, that part that I'm putting in quotations, that party happens. How long did you work with the guy after that?
I got I got about a week and a half, we had 2 weeks. I had 2 weeks. Oof. It was 2 weeks after that incident where, cause I kept telling Jerry, I don't want to be paid. I was working 8 hours a day and I'm actually, I'm not doing my own projects. I'm working on his projects that he's being paid for. Because for me, it's more of like making connections. I got my own money. I make my own money. So I don't need this. That to me, this is fun. But
and skills,
he knew that
skills pay the bills eventually. It's a good way. It's a good translation of information. Not to, as long as you're comfortable.
Right. And so, what he did was Jared was like, I need your social and all this stuff because I want to put you on payroll. I said, payroll for 2 days a week. I don't want to be paid. You're gonna fuck up my other shit.
Yeah.
Like, you can't put me on payroll. You're gonna fuck up all the other money that I make. And I'm not gonna lose all my benefits because you want to put me on a payroll for 2 days a week. That's just ridiculous. And he was like, well, I have to do it. I feel like it needs to be that way and I have to pay you. And I was like, well, how much are you talking about paying me anyway? Let's talk about that. Well, it's going to be $15 an hour. $15, bitch. Are you, first of all, I was like, this is why I didn't want to work for you, because I know what I'm worth, and I know I'm worth way more than that. So that's why I just said I want to do it for free so I can learn. But see, now you've introduced this whole thing. You fucked it all up because your wife is mad. So, because I think that in his mind, he thought if I make him an employee, then my wife can't trip about it, because he works for me.
Yeah.
Versus he's just coming to the shop with me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they fucked it all up. Yeah.
You're right.
We can't even, talk anymore. But
yeah, that might have been a play from the husband to just be like, well, he's my employee, I hate it, but I got to give him a ride to work. And also, I mean, we get along. But you're right. That is true. When, if I said to Brian was like, I told him how much he was worth per hour, it would be like, damn, that's fucked up. I thought it was something more than per hour here.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I didn't go into this as a job. I went into this, because for fun. And you live next door to me. Why not? Who cares? That was a bad idea. Now I know that's a bad idea. You learn new stuff every day.
Yeah, having a friend too. I mean, having your next door neighbor be a friend is probably awesome. I've never had it before.
Yeah.
But it probably does rule.
So cool.
Yeah.
We can look into each other's windows. That's how close we are. And now it's like I had to rearrange my whole bedroom around so that I don't even face that side of the fucking room.
Yeah.
Because I was like, it's just so awkward now. Now it's all awkward. Just because this one white lady is uncomfortable because this this gay black dude who has nothing, came from out of nowhere, fucked up her whole shit.
Oh my God, that's incredible. That would be hard for me to put up with. I mean, that's tough. Do you still run into each other on occasion, or your schedule's not synced up anymore?
All the time.
All the time.
I see them all the time. All the time. And especially Jared, I always, because our hours are almost the same. I'm usually going out to do cleaning and other stuff when he's going out for work. So I always run into him. And it's kind of like when you're walking past, it's like walking past the ex that you really could have spent the rest of your life with. You know what I mean?
We had a thing.
We had a thing.
I had a friend.
You know, it's like
And people don't know what it's like. I mean, maybe people don't know, but as an adult, to get a friend is the most rare thing in the world.
I moved twice too. You're a mover, it sounds like. I moved from Dallas and moved to DC. Both times it was like quickly I have to find people that I can go to their house with my pajamas on and just drink canned beer and we act an ass in front of each other. Like, that is not easy to find at all.
Having friends,
you cannot just vibe with people.
Me and Brett meeting when
I just
we
wanted
did.
somebody to like binge watch shows with.
Right.
I
Yeah.
just wanted somebody to watch The Housewives with every now and then. That's it.
Me and Brett meeting is like one of the great meeting when I was like 32 is one of the great miracles of my life. Where it was like I probably hadn't made a friend in 10 years before that.
It just, you know, it really reiterated for me that the universe does not want me to be happy. It's just like, I don't know what I did in my past life, but this is it. Like, this is what I have to deal with now. It's just a bunch of fucking people who are so, they just don't want to change. It's like every good thing comes with a bad thing. It's like every amazing person comes with a terrible husband, wife, boss. I don't know. It always comes with these terrible strings attached. Ugh.
Yeah, you got to apply that forgiveness to everybody. But I do appreciate the effort in following that intuition of like, hey, I want to fuck with wood. If you can do it, teach me. But you don't win every time when you make that gamble.
Yep, that's right. Well, at least I got a month out of it. So what are you gonna do? That's how I look at
Hope
it.
you learn how to do a
I mean, it
good
seems like
Joyce
you're
or something.
It seems like you're open to having friends, which is really that's the thing that adults do wrong.
It is.
Is they're just not even open to having a friend.
Oh, I know. Especially out here, everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, do I have my Tesla? Or when can I sell my house so I can make an extra $1 million?" Like everyone's just focused on their status out here, and homeless people. So when it comes to being vulnerable for like 2 seconds and, you know, being like authentic and friendly, it's like, for what? What is that? How does that pay? What's the pay for that? What do I get from this? You know what I mean? It's like, how is that going to help me in the long run? So short-sighted.
Yeah. Well, thanks for calling in. That was great. That was
thank you. Yeah, that's awesome. I want to
tragedy.
say that you are the best. Have a
And-
great night.
You have a great night too.
Once again, please message me with your information one more time. I want to let you know there are protocols in place so that I can distribute that information. In case I'm in a rut, I won't just completely forget about what I promised.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. I'm watching you, Brett. I'm watching you. We'll see.
Hey, I got to prove to you, Bobby. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Okay, bye, guys.
Peace. Oh, that's wonderful. I had a situation like that too, though, when I went to that funeral, and that was related to like Black Lives Matter versus Blue Lives Matter, where it was like we had went so radical and over the summer that we just completely lost contact with family members to the point where they won't even look at you or talk to you or acknowledge you, which is crazy to me because I'm just not like that anymore. Like, even my old high school buddy, we had, like, a fucking knockdown, drag-out fight against each other and didn't talk forever. And now we're, like, the best friends again. And I just couldn't imagine... But it's because he moved away, and that's why. But if I ever see anybody that I fucking was in a fight with before, I'm just like, nah, man, I was stupid and fighty. Please don't hold that against me.
Yeah, I was in a bad mood.
I was in a bad mood. I didn't mean to do that,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah. You want to take another call, or do you want to take a break, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, take one more.
One more call. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who we talking tonight? What's the pronouns?
Hey, this is Kelly, and my pronouns are she and her.
Hey, Kelly, what's going on tonight?
Nothing much, actually. I'm kind of excited I actually got on because I called in late, and I was like, oh, shit, I'm not going to be able to get on.
Nah, you made it. You made it on the ABCD show.
I know.
What's up tonight?
Nothing. I've been meaning to call in for like weeks now because I want to talk about Yakuza.
I've never played Yakuza. Brett has. Brett loves it.
I've been playing it.
Yeah, when you said...
Have you finished it yet?
You're one of the legendary Kellys. There's a lot of good Kellys listening to Street Fight, but I thought it was you. And I just searched the zip code. It was like, I know who this is. I haven't finished it yet. No, I'm about 40% the way through. I will finish it eventually. I do love it. It's the only game that has like really grabbed me in a long time. It's just so interesting, and the characters are great. There's in Yakuza Like a Dragon, you fight against pandemic patients. That's like one of the classes of bad guys.
I was like, yeah.
But I mean, the storyline is incredible too. They really pack a lot in there. I am a big fan, but I have not finished it yet.
Yeah, no, it was really great. Like, I actually took the day after it came out off work so I could play it when it came out.
What one came out today?
I got what?
What Yakuza? Oh, you just to play it. Is there a new one?
Just to play the latest one. No, when Like a Dragon came out, like back in November, I took the day off of work to play it, which is the first time I ever did anything like that. But yeah, no, it's really good, and a lot of people who are fans of the series were kind of like, oh, I don't want to play the newest one because all the other ones are like kind of like beat 'em ups and they're not RPGs. So they're like, oh, this sucks. But I actually really like it. It's really different than all the other ones. And like, if you play the other ones through, it's kind of like, all right, I'm beating up another guy again and another guy. But I like what they did, and I like how they changed the combat. So it's more interesting to me.
Yeah, I agree. I was kind of disappointed because after I played it, I was like, I'm gonna play all these games, and then everybody was like, well, the rest of the games are beat 'em up, and I was like, no, I like the RPG. I like an RPG with a gang member and with guns. It's really funny. It's like in Final Fantasy, there's sword guns, but like in Yakuza, someone pulls out a real gun and fires you as like their magic attack, and like that is better to me. Yeah. And also they do a good job with like Final Fantasy 12 was one of my favorite battle systems because it was like an active time type thing. And basically you would just program your character. You could put in different programming for like if your health gets below 50%, heal yourself. Attack until their health is below whatever percentage. And the autoplay on Yakuza I really like because in a lot of RPGs, when you are doing the dungeon crawling part and you're fighting like a rat for like the 1000th time, it's like I just have to hit them with my fucking stick and they will die. So I like just be able to go into autoplay, and then once you get into the boss battles, it's way more intense and requires a lot more planning. Yeah, it's a great game.
I actually never used the autoplay before.
Oh, really?
I mean, I played it without putting in autoplay. Yeah, I don't know why.
Whenever someone's like significantly below my level, I just autoplay it and watch them beat the shit out of them and enjoy it. I'm just like cheering on the side like it's a wrestling match.
Yeah, I always play games with lots of combat in them, so I haven't. People always tell me I'm not gonna like the Yakuza games.
The older ones are just like, yeah, I don't know the older ones though. Do you think Brian could get into it?
I think he could. Like a lot of them. Especially, like, people will tell you to start with 0, which is probably the place to start. But a lot of the first few chapters are, like, really, I guess, story and, like, cutscene heavy, and they kind of, like, get you into the game. But after that, you kind of are, like, free to explore and do what you want. But, yeah, it's all, like, combat-based, and you learn, like, new skills as you progress through the game and get experience and stuff.
Yeah, people tell me, like, I wouldn't like it, and then I see stuff like an adult baby scene, and I'm like, it doesn't seem like the kind of video game I play. I like Hitman.
Oh, you don't want an adult baby scene? That was a big sell for the adult babies came back in Yakuza. And I drank a bottle of milk with them. Like, they test you, and they're like, hey, have a bottle of milk with us. And then I was like, all right, I'll do it, I guess. So I drank milk with the adult babies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, in Yakuza 2, there's actually another adult baby scene, so they're actually in the game twice.
See, I mean, I'm like, the game I'm playing right now is Hitman, the new Hitman. I like killing stuff. That
Yeah.
is just my whole video game experience. And I do want to get to the point where I'm not playing a killing stuff game someday. So maybe I just gotta make the plunge to Yakuza. You know, the non-killing Yakuza. Because
yeah, technically you never kill anybody.
yeah, I want to appreciate
Stab 'em, but you never kill them.
Yeah, I want to appreciate the art of like video games where I feel like you don't have to always just be killing something. I played Celeste, which was really fun and not a killing game. It was running and jumping a lot. But I mean, the whole time, whenever I saw an enemy or something, I'd be like, "Oh, I'd love to kill that," you know.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Yakuza, it has an incredible amount of reading, but then I also find myself not wanting to miss what I'm reading. Like, the storytelling is really incredible, and apparently they base the character models after the voice actors, so they're like really feel like fully fleshed people. And you know, in Like a Dragon, I think I said it before, but you wake up in a homeless encampment, and one of your party members is a homeless guy. And you're dealing with like people that work in like soap with the soap land, which is where guys pay to go get a pretty girl to go wash them down. Like, those are the people that you're fighting with, and that's what I really enjoyed about it. Is like I played through an incredible amount of like JRPGs with like medieval times weapons and shit. But the way they modernized all this and the kind of open world atmosphere. Like, I spend a lot of time just racing the go-karts are one of my favorite things to do. I also gamble like crazy. I will go beat the shit out of people all night long and then just gamble it all away.
Yeah.
It's like my Sims. It's just like, it's really incredible. It's really open world. You can get it over with, or you can explore. And the side quests are just so weird. And, you know, there's like, you can run a business. You can play rhythm games, you can race cars, you can do batting cages. It's so many games in one. It's kind of, you get out of it however much you're willing to put into it, you know?
Yeah.
So when did
I gotta tell you though. Like,
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
So when did you start playing them? I've watched your collection grow over the past year or so, but when did you get into it?
I actually started playing in August.
Okay.
Because I was bored and I was online and I was like, should I buy Yakuza 0? And somebody was like, yeah, you should do it. And I was like, okay, I'll buy it. And then I started playing it and I was like, holy shit, I need to play the rest of these games.
That's great. It's like racing for me, where I just was like, yep, this is what I do now. Yep, all the time. This is me. Also, calling off to play video games, one of the best feelings in the world. It's something I don't get to do since I've started the show. But I remember Metal Gear Solid 2 came out. I skipped school to go buy it, and so we could play it. I remember all of the Madden games coming out and none of the people showing up to work. You know, there was always those days when you knew something was coming out. Dota was coming out, so you're not going to see some employees on that day.
Yeah, I've never been in, Max Payne on the Xbox, Max Payne 3. I got super into it and was like not doing my, I was in college at the time. I wasn't doing any of my work because I was playing Max Payne.
Which one?
It's the one where he goes to Brazil and stuff on the Xbox 360. I was just obsessed with it. And the Hitman games I usually get kind of grabbed by, but it's starting to get warm outside. So it might be a while before I finish Hitman 3. But I love those fucking games so much. I love them. I'm already... I started it. I just, once it gets warm out, I don't spend a lot of time indoors. It's a little thing I do. It's like, the great outdoors.
Yeah, I think that like giving yourself that time to enjoy video games, I had a real guilt built up about it. I wasted too much time doing that. But then it's like, I was making dinner and the whole time I was thinking about leveling up my character and like trying to serve dessert fast enough so I could rush downstairs and pick up the controller again. Like, I shouldn't feel ashamed about having this much joy. I shouldn't feel bad about sinking all this time into this. It's like, it's the most, I haven't read a book since Corona fucking started, But Yakuza is I've read a whole goddamn book on that PS4 screen for sure.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think the Yakuza games are like books, and I should like be able to appreciate that, you know?
Well, you know what's funny? I was actually talking with my therapist about like my newfound obsession with video games, and she was like, well, you know, since the coronavirus happened, you know, playing video games is kind of a sense of control. Because if everything around you is kind of out of control because you can't go places, people are getting sick and stuff, playing the video games is like, here's one thing I have control over.
Right. Yeah, it's living without rules.
So like, I feel better now.
And in Yakuza, yeah, it is like it's totally, you can do whatever you want. Like if you want to go investigate, if you want to go in to like do jobs for the hero services, you can do that. If you just want to play through the story and get the main story and ignore everything else, like it's completely up to you. It's incredible. It reminds me of Shenmue was the last game that I felt this way about. Because there was a moment in Shenmue where I was working a job at the docks and driving a forklift and was just like, how is this a video game? And why do every day I'm at school, all I'm thinking about is coming home and getting onto my shift at the docks so I can progress my character in Shenmue.
Oh man, yeah, I gotta try one. I'll try Yakuza someday.
Okay,
I will.
Okay.
I promise.
Oh, one more thing. Going back to, like, you know how you mentioned a lot of the characters like modeled after their voice actors.
Yes.
Okay, you should Google the guy who plays Nanba. His name's Ken Yasuda. I swear to God, it's like 1-for-1 match. I saw it and I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah, I started following him on Instagram.
Yeah, I was like, Jesus Christ.
He's a really
good. Technology's too far.
Yeah, he's a really great follow. He has like a really good sense of humor, and he goes in and out of like. Yeah. He is like a personal life, but then he also gives you like the Nanba content that you want, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is also it just really is it's like saying something that's simple, but it is revolutionary to think like you can get sucked into a game when you know the voice matches the actual person, you know.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for calling in, Kelly. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I'm glad you're excited about Yakuza and you got on the line. Is there any place you want us to follow along, or the things we need to do, or things you want to push?
No, I don't have anything I want to push, actually.
Okay.
I'm a very non-pushy person.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it.
Right.
We think you're great. Have a good one.
Thank you. All right, you too.
Peace.
All right. Break time?
Yeah, let's do this. This week we got on the show, I believe, I don't know if they said it or not, but I believe our earlier caller is in this band. Nice. I didn't write it down. Mind Control. You can find them on bandcamp.com. They are Mind Control PVD from Providence, Rhode Island. Our first caller, Alex, is in the band. So Mind Control by Mind Control, available at mindcontrolpvd.bandcamp.com. Enjoy. Evan, not Alex. God damn it.
Wood,
Alex is our partner.
On the night of the full moon, Doreen Valiente carried out her ritual, hoping that in this experiment, never before tried in front of cameras, some psychic manifestations might appear on the face.
Nobody knew when we were down that we would come back up again, come back up again, come back. The devil's soul was in the ground. The devil's drink, we passed it round and round around. I was a boy in the war. We did the fire drills, till the devil's lost and angels love until it comes back up again, comes back up again, comes back up again. Patrol, swinging a knife that I had on that I saw a car. I hid in the hedgerow till it went out of sight. I gave my love to the neighbors in ecstatic naked delight. I broke my vow to answer the higher calling me now. That nobody knew what we saw when they would pump the blood from them, pump the blood from them, pump the blood from them. Cheese, Turkish delight. My friends pop the poppies, they pop the poppies, they pop the poppies, and men sage and mandrake. They drank the tannis root, drank the tannis root, and made the sacred mistake. The garden snake. I'll find a love for you, find a love for you, find a match you can make. That night, swinging a knife that I had on that night, I saw a car. I hid in the hedgerow till it went out of sight. I gave my love to the neighbors in ecstatic naked delight. I broke my vow to answer the higher calling me now. That he knew when we were down that we would come back up again, come back up again, come back. The devil's hole was in the ground. The devil's drink, we passed it round and proud around. I was a boy in the war. We did the fire drills, did the fire drill. A devil's paw, an angel's love, until it comes back up again, comes back up again, comes back up again. I patrolled that night, swinging a knife that I had on that night. I saw a car. I hid in the hedgerow till it went out of sight. I gave my love to the neighbors in ecstatic naked delight. I broke my vow to answer the higher calling me. That nobody knew, but we saw when they would pump the blood from them, pump the blood from them, pump the blood from them. Richie who's Turkish delight. My friends pop the poppies, they pop the poppies, they pop the poppies, and Ben Sage and Mandrake. They drank the tannis root, drank the tannis root, and made the sacred mistake. The garden snake. I'll find a love for you, find a love for you, find a match you can make. That night, swinging a knife that I had on that night, I saw a car. I hid in the hedgerow till it went out of sight. I gave my love to the neighbors in ecstatic naked delight. I broke my vow
Diana of the rounded moon, the queen of all enchantment here. The wind is sighing through the trees, and we invoke thee to appear. Well, it's really difficult to get the spirit of the old ritual, knowing that she was surrounded by cameras and things like that. But when the ritual was almost completed, I began to feel the atmosphere building up, and I think other people did too. This is what the ritual really means. It isn't conjuring up a sort of pantomime demon or anything like that. It is something that affects your inner mind and works its way late in your life and in your feeling and thought. To the old ones, very neat, very fast. And in a wood at midnight.
All right, everybody, we're back. This is Street Fight Radio, the call-in show. It's the ABC edition. Anyone but cis dudes, feel free to call in. We'd love to hear from you. You can call any other time as well. It's not just a one-night thing. That was Mind Control from Providence, Rhode Island. The first caller, Evan, is in the band, Mind Control. You can find them at mindcontrolpvd.bandcamp.com. And the chat loves them. The chat says, Max Shock says, love this song. Kudzu Garden Studio says, so beautiful. Jordan R says, this song, heart, heart. So, I think it was a hit. The people like Mind Control. Mindcontrolpvd.bandcamp.com. Show them some love. Send them some money. And if you're in the Providence area, go check them out live, once we can get back to that, if you're fortunate enough to get vaccinated. We are taking calls tonight and until midnight. I think we've got enough people in the queue. We've been stretching these out. So if you're in the queue, we'll get to you. And are you ready to take calls, Brian?
I am.
Oh, also, just a clarification. Sorry, I asked you that right before. The Dave Ramsey episode is out. On Wednesday, I said it was, but I forgot we're releasing them on Friday. So the Dave Ramsey episode of Get Motivated is out. You want to hear it. You're not going to believe the information we found out by the end of the story. Me and Brian talked to Tom Sexton about motivational speakers, about Christianity, and about Dave Ramsey specifically for a very long time, and it was a lot of fun to do, and it was a wild fucking episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
This week we're doing Tony Robbins with Kath Barbadoro. And if you want to hear those shows, they're available for $5 at patreon.com/streetfightradio. We're putting out premium content once a week. And that includes video as well. We do Shark Tanks and Undercover Boss and The Food That Made America and lots of other fun things over at patreon.com/streetfightradio.
Get in there.
Let's take these calls. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Oh. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight? What's your pronouns?
Oh, is this me?
Yes, it is.
It's you.
Oh, gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't think I would get through.
Well, you don't have to apologize.
My name is Miranda. Oh, okay, good. I started to apologize again. My pronouns are she, her.
Hey, what's going on tonight?
And I was calling because I have a metric story.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys are still doing that, but I was listening to some old episodes. And I used to have I used to work at a church nursery for fancy, a rich people church where they actually pay people to watch their kids while they're upstairs or whatever.
Wow.
I know, right? So weird.
Well, I mean, I guess if it's there, I would use it if I was at the church. But normally that is that's a volunteer position, which also probably isn't the best.
Yeah, but it's also like when I was growing up going to churches, like the days you got to do the nursery instead of going to church was like, fuck yeah, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the few times I've been to church, I only had fun when I was a kid. And even then, that was not very fun.
It's limited fun for sure.
Yeah, but we always want to hear about metrics because those control our lives, and they're only getting better at tabulating them.
Dude, apparently in the churches too. So like when parents would drop off their kids, we would give them a pager, and we had sort of like a standard like time limit. Like if your kid freaks out for this long, we'll page you, and if they wanted to like decrease it, we would. But it was like around like 10 minutes if they just like go berserk for 10 minutes. So that was like our metric. Like, and I honestly, I don't know, who knows? I was really good with babies at the time. I don't even know if I still have it, but I was like, I would get the like walkie-talkie call from the toddler room, and they'd be like, all right, we got a baby. We got 8 minutes left. We got to get in here and calm this baby down.
That's the worst. Calming a baby down is the hardest thing in the world. Calming a toddler down, a little easier. I'm a big toddlers guy. I'm a fan of toddlers.
I think babies...
Yeah, you can talk...
Go ahead. Yeah, you can talk to toddlers.
Oh,
you're
just
right.
the same. Like with a toddler, you can be like, I'm going to go talk to mom. She's not going to be happy about this. And like, they'll be fine.
More fun and funny, too. Toddlers are funny. You get a lot of...
Totally.
I mean, no matter what they look like or act like, it's like... Me and the kid, like, you know, our friends' babies... Like, we just sit and on Instagram and watch them like, God damn, look at that toddler. Like, I miss having a toddler sometimes. Not enough to have another
right?
toddler.
I mean, I don't have a toddler. I wish you could just, like, hang out with other people's toddlers. Because I'm like, I know I'm good at it. I don't want one of my own.
Yeah.
But, like, let me share this skill. I guess it's called babysitting, and I just don't do it anymore.
Right. I can't have another one. I can't do another one. It's too much work. But holy moly, would I do anything just to hang with one? I mean, we saw some of our friends' kids the other day, and it was, or yesterday, and it was so exciting for me because I was like, oh, look at them go, just acting cute as a button, you know, and rambunctious and rowdy. There's one point where they all climbed into this thing, and we were getting a picture of them, and they just started screaming, and I was like, that's the loudest thing I've heard in months.
They climbed into a
now.
tube and then started screaming as loud as they could.
Yeah, that's the loudest thing I've learned heard in a very long time. Because I had a 16-year-old. They don't get very loud.
Yeah, 16-year-old sounds are very, like, hunched shoulders, not very loud.
Pissed off. Half the time pissed off. You're like, come on, you know? What do you got to be mad about? You know what I mean? That's what I always think about with the 16-year-old. I'm like, what are you so mad about? You know, you don't have things to get mad about yet for another few more years. But I let it slide now because of COVID, you know. Teenager during COVID.
Yeah.
I had a week time the other day. I went on the New York Times site and they said parents of teens let us know what it's like raising a teen in COVID, and I almost sent something, and I was like, nah, I don't want to. I don't want people to see my name in there.
You were going to write into the newspaper.
I was going to write into the newspaper to just talk about, like, my feelings about what it's like to have a teenager during COVID, because it's such an odd time. Now, having anything younger than a teenager sounds maybe like torture during this thing. So I'm kind of glad I have a teenager for this.
Better than a toddler.
It is. A toddler would be making me insane every single day for this past year. Just asking you questions, controlling the TV. Because they control the TV.
They do.
That is a huge issue, you know. It's like all we have to do now is TV, and it's controlled by this one person, and all they want to do is watch Hannah Montana.
Yeah. My daughter, for her 8th birthday, got a TV in her room, and it's the best thing that's ever happened to this house. It's only been 48 hours. Maybe it's been a week now, but I don't have to watch any of the shit that she wants to watch anymore.
It's funny because you'll say when the kid's born, you'll be like, "You're never gonna have a TV in your room. I'll never put a TV in a kid's room. That's the wrong way to parent." And then after a few years, you really start to soften on that. After a few years of watching like whatever crap they're into, because they're never into any. You're never just like, "Oh, this is cool." You're into what I'm into.
Yeah. Charlie watches some neat stuff. I am impressed with some of the cartoons she likes, but that's only 10% of what she watches.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are the cartoons you're impressed with?
She watches this one called Kipo that's pretty good. It's kind of like a dystopian thing where this society that lives underground after some event happened on the surface, and they're like exploring the new world and everything. That's a good one. She-Ra is really good. And
I teach animation to autistic kids, so I'm like writing all of this down.
yeah, and Steven Universe is still the greatest of all time. It's such an incredible creation that, like, I mean, you can watch it several times over and get so many different ideas from it. It covers things in a very subtle way, in a very smart way. Me and Brian talk about, the cartoons that were made for us was like, we want to sell this toy. Let's make a cartoon out of this toy. She-Ra is more about relationships. I think it's just a show about relationships, which is what you want from prestige TV or any sort of live action animated movie or live action movie or TV series. But it's just about the way that people interact and the boundaries. It's an interesting show. I'm impressed by it.
Damn.
I'll check it out. Thank you.
Gwen got us into American Horror Story 1984 last night.
I would get into that. I mean, I'm waiting. My daughter is almost there. She loves Wednesday Addams. She loves all black clothing. She's going to be so goth. And it's going to be me and her in the living room while her mom is upstairs when we're watching horror movies. And I'm ready for that.
Yeah, Gwen's been watching all of American Horror Story. And then she got to the slasher season. And she was like, "Oh, you guys like slashers? Do you want to watch this season with me?" We watched 6 episodes like in a row. It's I don't know. I might watch more American Horror Story now. That slasher season is something else. They really went for it. You know?
Yeah.
It's very weird. But yeah. Oh, I love talking about kids.
Kids are the best. I don't want to take up too much of you guys' time, so I'm like, if I could do just a quick plug, I'm totally ready to bounce.
Do it.
Sorry.
Go for it.
Not a problem.
So I guess a good plug is my husband's band, Her Marigold. Google it; they're amazing. But then I'm an artist, and I'm working on a project just sort of spreading the word about cis male breastfeeding. I just thought I'd throw that out there. There's like a lot of anecdotal evidence that says that like even cis men can breastfeed. So I'm just sort of making an art project about that, trying to get the word out.
Okay.
Well, how do you feel about shaving, though? Do I have to shave? I'll do it if I don't have to shave.
I don't think so. Like, I mean, if it's, like, what's a baby carry,
True. They're not going to know any. They don't have any preference when it
Well,
comes
they can't
to that.
say anything anyway, so it's kind of like whatever.
Totally, yeah.
All right. Well,
I'm into it.
Where go? Is there a site or anything, or just Google it?
Yeah, just Google it. Just know it.
Okay. All right. Well,
That's
thanks.
all.
Thanks for calling.
Appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Have a great night.
You too. Yeah, man. We're watching this slasher season. It takes place in like 1984, and this group of teenagers goes to a camp where a bunch of murders happened in the 70s.
Tight. That's fun.
They're trying to reopen the camp, and it goes wild, man.
Sounds good. I mean, I might check it out.
Yeah, it's very fun.
Something after Warrior.
It's very fun because it's very fucking true to form. And instead of like objectifying women like they did in those other movies, they objectify men. So like there's all these aerobic scenes with all these like hot dudes like pelvic thrusting and dancing, and the woman's running it, and there's like a guy with a huge hog in it that like they keep showing the outline of his hog, and he talks about like
that's pretty cool.
It's very weird. It's very funny.
That sounds cool.
It cracked me up. It really fucking made me laugh.
Yeah.
Because I didn't notice it right away because it was just like, it's just like, it's like a horror show. And then I was like, there's like a shower scene, but it's the dudes and not the women. I was like, there hasn't been any like objectification of women in this, that's usually what these movies are. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, it's men. They're doing it with women. You didn't even notice. It's incredible though.
It sounds good.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Fun. I'll tell you some about it when we get off the air, because I don't want to like spoil it for people, and I won't spoil it for you, but it's very weird.
Yeah. Adventure Time was, I think, the one that my daughter got into early on. She also liked Summer Camp Island, but I think that there's a moment of pride in me that she likes these shows that kind of have adult humor in them. She's watching because they're animated, but they're also addressing adult things. And it's like, that's how I felt too. Like when I watch Ren and Stimpy or SpongeBob or whatever it's like they're making jokes for grown-ups here too.
Right.
There's more than just fucking making kids zone out.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
All right. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight? What's your pronouns? Howdy.
Hey, Sunshine. She, her, but not hers. And yeah, there was so much like during these calls that I want to respond to. It was really fun listening to everybody.
Yeah, we got time. Let's know what's up.
Put you on speakerphone. Oh, okay. I wanted to tell you, Brian, that like you can feel comfortable like setting boundaries with people or speaking up for when you don't feel safe, really, like, and also with your daughter for getting a job, like, teach her how to like spin that shit like in the other direction instantly. My one friend was so good when people would hit on her at the cash register, be like, she would literally ask them with a flat face, like, does that ever work for you? And just like, and they would just like stop and like shut up because they realized how stupid they were being,
Yeah.
So like teaching people skills of like responding to that stuff is so, I think it's really empowering and cool.
Yeah, I mean, her not having a job is partly about the harassment. I don't want like 23-year-old dudes in charge of her like that. Like I just don't want to put her in that situation. But it's also because like, she's 16. You're only going to be 16 once. And might as well let them just have fun the whole time. Don't rush them into adulthood like that is how I felt. Like it was just like my parents made me work. I hold it against them because I worked a lot of time that I could have been spending having fun. I mean, I had money because I worked, but I was, you work Friday and Saturday night. Like what? Those are the 2 nights off that you get from school and stuff. And I just, I feel like she has so much time. There's so much time to work after you graduate high school that I was just like, and I feel like she'll have maybe have more confidence at 18, 19 years old than she does now when you're still figuring the world out and stuff.
I hear you. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I was just like, I heard you saying that earlier and I was like, oh, it's okay. I was just like thinking about that,
Yeah, and no, I also get what you're saying. I actually like understand what you're saying too. It's like learning those lessons of how to like assert yourself in those situations and stuff can also be good. But it was just like, it was something that like when I was in college, I learned a lot about teenage delinquency and stuff like that. And it was just like one of the big determinants of that is if they work because they're hanging around older people. And then you hear about like the way that like the management treats like teen girls that work for them. And I was just like, she shouldn't have to go through that now. I can give her money. It's fine. How much do they really need?
Totally. Cool. And then I was also thinking about like something that as in the first caller said, and I just want to say that like I hope that sometime in the future, like we don't have to, like people are comfortable without like thinking about what another person's gender is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I thought the same thing actually.
or
Right
we
when we're using the restroom, I think the edible hit right, and I was like, it matters in like medical situations, I guess, if someone like to if they have to operate or work on that, but in social situations, like it's not relevant at all.
Yeah, and then that also brought up like the point that Brian was making about marriage, and it is such like the only reason that like it seems relevant to me, like as far as like this, I hate the state, so I don't want to get married under the state, but the benefit of like being able to see someone in like a medical situation and like having, you know, you can basically get a power of attorney from what I understand of it to get around that, so that you can like, you know, if you care about a partner and however many partners someone might have,
right,
to like have a relationship like that. So anyways, those were things I was reflecting about while listening to the other callers and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I mean even going back to the caller we just had with the youth, they have a completely different idea of the world. I don't think that like there's enough of us, but I just think that they're not going to get rid of these turn of events that have happened, you know, with social media and phones and the way that we've all connected and become more open with each other, you know. If like even that fucking dumbass Glenn Greenwald was trying to be a piece of shit this week about people, you know, lesbians becoming trans and all of this stuff, and it's like, what are you doing? Why are you? Do you have a spreadsheet at home? Do you keep a spreadsheet on how people? What does it matter? What does it concern you? More boys probably wanted to paint their fingernails than we ever fucking knew before. You know, like we're finding that out right now. You know, like we're finding things out and people are allowed to be themselves, and we're not even close because there's so many goddamn bigots. And like Brian said, there's people that want to hound you. They're the pizza delivery person. You sign your fucking receipt MX, and they're like, what does that mean? And like, I'm non-binary. Oh, well, do you really believe that you don't have certain traits based upon your genitalia?
Oh my God.
You know, they're like, just people will go off on you all the time about shit like that.
It's insane. I hate it.
And for that one, they just can't. They just it's some sort of it's related to the mask thing. It's related to the vaccine. It's this matter of just people that aren't willing to accept someone else for who they are, or won't believe them that's who they want to be. You know, it's absurd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is the thing. Is like it just shouldn't even fucking matter. You know, you shouldn't, all the information in the world's out there. It's like when I post something online that is referencing something, and then 15 people ask, what's this from? And you're like, Google it. You'll find it.
It's right there.
there. It's on the internet. Like, don't look like you're out of touch.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, you're looking foolish.
Look it up. If I see a post and I see the same verbiage you ain't used over and over again, I search Twitter for that verbiage to find out where it came from.
Yeah.
I don't just ask somebody where it's from. And it's the same thing when it comes to like non-binary people. Like if you're a person that encounters a non-binary person, I mean, all the information's pretty much out there. You can just go look that up. You don't have to debate them on what their existence is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm really glad to like see that, you know, people having like open discussions of like, oh yeah, I'm just going to tell you my pronouns so that we can like move past that and just start being humans together again sometimes, like in formal or semi-formal or like sometimes casual circumstances. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, the only other thing I wanted to talk about was I wanted to shout out the Means TV 12 or the prison in 12 landscapes on Means TV. I just subscribed and I'm stoked. I'm only like 20 minutes into this hour and a half documentary, but it's prison abolition is a really big part of my life, and I'm stoked to see more, you know, people discussing it or content about it or whatever.
I don't know.
Yeah,
What's
that's
Prison
all
in 12 Landscapes?
It's a documentary on Means TV.
Well, you know, you're making me look bad but I
Yeah,
haven't
you're
seen
making
that
us
one.
look bad. I didn't see it. You know, we're busy making Means TV shows, right?
Oh yeah,
Yes,
that's
yeah.
what I wanted to also call in and like. So what's going on? When am I? I'm very excited. So I'm.
We're not going to give you dates
looking
anymore.
forward to see you guys. I know.
But
Just teasing.
we're in pre-production, and it's all written. All of it's done. It just has to be filmed, and it turns out that's first of all when it's me and Brett are in charge. We're the like bosses, and we've never made a TV show before.
We're not the
And
bosses.
We're not the bosses now. We do have producers now, but you know
That's the only reason it's going to work is because we're not in charge anymore.
yeah, we have producers now, and they're working and they're pushing us towards the time. It's sort of that thing, like, without going too much into it, it's sort of that thing where it's like, you do your part, and then you're just like, well, let the chips fall where they may, and then like people have to bring you back into the project, and we are very much working on it. And I think it'll be out this year. I do. I really feel that way. I feel like it will be filmed before the summer.
Well, I'm stoked to see it when it comes out.
It's going to be nutty. I can tell you one thing. It is a comedy show, and it is the only it is a very unique to Street Fight brand of comedy. I can say that.
Yeah,
I believe it.
Essentially, the difference is that it's like me, Brian, and Nick are friends with each other, and it's very hard to tell your friends to work harder. It's very hard to tell your friends you're not doing enough, and there's not enough people involved. You know, we're all willing to work the extra time. We're all willing to do the sweat equity, but it's very hard to get anything done with that because. You know, if this was a TV show with if it was $1 million budget, like it would be right on track, you know, but we're trying to stitch together something, you know, we don't get any money. We don't get like PragerU money. We don't get Koch brother money. We don't get any sort of dark money. But we do have an executive producer. What's the show that you like?
How To with John Wilson. She worked for How To with John Wilson, which is on HBO Max, and it's like a very, very funny show, and it's very weird, which matches her up perfectly with what we have written.
And so we do actually have somebody that has made a TV show involved that's willing to plot out everything for us and make it into something digestible, because like me and Brian are we're absolutely useless when it comes like I don't know how to get this on video. I have this really funny idea and we could put on costumes, but if I record stuff with a video, it looks terrible because I'm not good at that.
Yeah, getting that's a good point too. Yeah, we don't think visually. We've been doing a podcast for 10 years, and all of our writing has been, for audio. So like making a TV show is this whole different thing where I'll write something. Me and Drew and me and Simone and me and Brett broke out and wrote stuff. But in the end, there was always questions about what it would look like. And I was like, I don't know, just make it look like something. You know what I mean?
You need a $10,000 camera to make it look like a TV show.
Right. And but I'm saying
it's $60 an hour of editing to get things looking like a TV show.
And I'm also saying like just even the fact that you're just like you write something, you're like, no, it's very funny. Well, we did a meeting about the first episode last week, and we had to explain some of the sketches, and we're like, no, it's just funny. You know what I mean? Which you just think like, in it's so weird, this idea of writing TV, because like you sequester yourself away with a few people. There's 4 of us writing on the show, and you develop a sort of language when you're talking to each other. You also develop an idea of what you 4 think is funny, and you write with that idea. It was Drew Spears and Simone Norman wrote this show with us, and we would get in a call and the 4 of us would just talk, and like it would it would make it would be like, no, that's like a really funny idea that really works, and then you expand on it. But then when somebody else reads it, you have to take, because we're not descriptive visually, we have to sort of be like, hey, you know, I was thinking it would look like this, even though we didn't write that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Julia is her name, and the thing was, like, after going through the script, she's like, so what's this script about? And like, I would read it, and the whole time it's just like, when you've ran over something that you've done like 100 times, when you did the rough draft and when you edit it and then you turn to the final draft, you're like, this is stupid. Like, because you're not hearing it for the first time. But the stuff that we say is shocking and weird and different. So when new people hear it, they're going to get that reaction. But from our side of the fence, it's like, this is the same old bullshit I put out, you know, for 10 hours a week online. It feels like. But she had a really good reaction. It was like, oh, that's funny. That's funny. Like, she said some things that calmed me down. Like, all right, I feel good about explaining what we're doing with this skit here, you know, because it's just, it's hard to I don't know. It's hard. It's so vulnerable to put yourself out there because we've been in charge of things for a very long time. So when you take it to somebody else and you know there's a lot of money on the line, I have a sense of anxiety about it, I guess, where I'm like, I want this to be like an all-star thing. I want this to be my best effort. I don't want you to take a chance on me with like, I just woke up and shitted something out, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, me and Brett have been writing for a very long time together, and we know what we think is funny, and we know how to make that happen, or how to do shows. And it was something you have to get over when you tour. Like, we were touring there near the end. Like, when we first started doing live shows, we did one a month, and we did different material every month. We never did the same show. And then when we started doing 5 gigs in a row, that was an unsustainable model. So we had to start performing a set for people because we were performing, you know, a lot more. And the jokes, it is the hardest thing about doing comedy like this, like TV or doing something on stage, is not hating your material after you've heard it. Because you've heard it. I've heard the joke. The jokes happen in my head first.
And jokes rely on surprise. The stuff that makes me laugh on TikTok is someone out of nowhere busts me over the head with some hilarious thought. But if I generated the thought, I'm like, I don't know. That was just natural, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. But to sum it all up, it will be here soon. We think it's filming in like 2 months. We think.
May is the planned date to start filming.
Yeah.
So, well, I just wanted to call in and say hey, and that I've been listening for like 5 years, and the street fight, we're gonna flatten the Ferris guys. I'm stoked. All right, have a great night.
Thanks for calling.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Go for it.
I'm my partner keeps reminding me to say that my Twitter is Stray Shine, and if anybody wants to follow me there, I retweet and share like prison updates, generally specifically in Oregon, but all over too. You know, I love talking. I see a bunch of abolitionist Twitter or Twitch handles in the chat, and that gets me really stoked. All right, awesome. Have a great night, guys.
Have a great night.
Twitter.com/StrayShine. Yeah. Well, that was great. I mean, I love it when we get to talk about ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think people do wonder about the TV show.
We should talk about it.
I mean, we don't talk about it very much because I think me and you both are kind of like, well, we thought it was going to be out sooner. And
but this is the process for
and the concept stuff. Yeah. The concept also changed.
Yeah.
The original concept was going to be a talk show that was literally just us sort of talking with maybe 1 or 2 sketches. Now I can tell you for sure that what you're getting is sketches and talk. Like you're getting like a pretty even mixture of sketch, talk,
music,
sketch, me and Brett riffing, music, and also interviews with our friends and stuff like that. So you're getting a whole bunch of different stuff now. And we had to write, but like, so when we were first talking about doing it, we were going to film it every week, and that was going to be the plan, and we were going to be able to keep up with the news. But then when we decided we were going to film all the episodes ahead of time, which is a better way and makes the show that we're doing 10 times better, then we had to write the shows. You know what I mean? And then Nick had to figure out some of the production stuff, because when you're reading scripts by people that have never written a TV show, they're going to have stuff in them that, you know, maybe doesn't make sense, or they're going to be missing stuff. So we had to learn how to write first. Our writer's room, we had to learn how to run that and how to make that happen. We had to find the writers, and it just was it was like some of the things ended up just coming up later on that pushed it back, but it is happening. It is coming. It is done. I mean, like, we know what is going to be in it. We just don't know what it's going to look like.
Yeah, but I'm also happy now that it's switched to, like, instead of me sharing Google Documents with people, folks have to share them with me. Because, like, if I'm in charge of the spreadsheet, we're not doing this. Like, I'm not going to throw this thing over my back and drag it over the finish line. I'm not confident, and I shouldn't be. I'm not this isn't my realm. So now that I'm punching in information to somebody else's spreadsheet, into Julia's spreadsheet, I feel like accomplished now. I feel like they know what a shooting schedule looks like. They know what has to happen. They're breaking all of the because it is also, it's like, oh, I want to do this thing. It's like, what are you going to wear? And it's like, do you have those clothes? Do you have that wig? Do you have that environment? Do you have that, you know, do you have the extras? Do you have all these things in place? And it's a lot to keep track of that we're not. But no two people could ever do that.
Well, no two people could ever make a TV show, and especially us, like two people that have never done it,
right?
Can't do it. So we did it.
Next call. Thanks for calling Street Fight. Who are we talking to tonight? And what's your pronouns?
Oh, hi.
Hey, what's up?
My pronouns are she, her, and I'd rather not say my name so it's not attached to this story I want to tell, I guess.
That's fine, Terry.
No problem. You're Terry then. That's Terry's name.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Okay. I'm nervous. Sorry.
You sound great. Your teeth aren't. I can't hear your teeth chattering, and you aren't unintelligible. So you're doing great so far.
Yeah, so I wanted to tell this crazy work story that happened to me. I've been like, I'm kind of reaching a better place after like a year of recovering from this like crazy burnout. But the way that it happened is like kind of it's like one of those things that happens, and there's like a before and an after of your life around that like event. And
life is a lot of life is chapters.
We just talked. Me and Brett recently had a conversation. It might have even been on the show, but there is a moment. It was on the show last week. There is a moment in my life where something happened. I got robbed, and it changed. It completely, radically redirected my life in a way that I could have never seen coming. So believe me, I know the feeling.
Yeah, I've also been in miserable. I've been in miserable relationships for several years, and then you're like, those 3 years didn't count. I was miserable then. Like, I want to be different now. I'm not going to be like that all the time. It was only because I had this job or because I was hanging out with these people that I was like that. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. I also feel like this is kind of what, like, I mean, my politics were always kind of left leaning, but this is kind of the like just totally off the deep end, like radicalizing moment too. So I work in tech and I do development type stuff, but also like creative type stuff, because I started doing that back when like being like a tech unicorn, I guess, was kind of like the annoying cheesy thing to do.
Yep.
So I finally got this job and I was so excited about it because I was the first developer hire and I was going to have complete control. The team was like a research and development team, so we didn't actually make money. So I had even more control over what I got to do. I was just really excited about it. And so because I was the first developer hire, my boss was like the vice president of the team at this like huge company.
Okay.
So I'm going along and I get to do this, like, I'm really excited because the first project I get to do is for Pride. So I also just like personally care a lot about it. And I'm like putting all this extra time in because it's something I care about. And I also like doing that work. And after a while, my boss, who was supposed to be helping me here and there, just kept on dropping the ball. And I'm just like trying to ignore that it keeps happening. But it was getting to the point that I would be working something like 80 hours a week, like just trying to get this project done, pulling multiple all-nighters in a row. And like, as you get older, like that really messes you up. Like, I was getting like sleep paralysis and
yeah, we treat that as an exploitable trait for young people. It's not good for them, even though they can survive it. But yeah, definitely at this point in my life, I don't have that energy in me.
Yeah. So I finally just like lose it, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, where is my boss? I've, worked every weekend, blah, blah, blah. And project manager pulls me aside and she like tells me that I'm not allowed to tell anyone, but he had been diagnosed with cancer.
Oh.
And so he was,
wow, that took a turn. I was just about to talk shit. I'm so glad I held my tongue.
Well, you'll get to talk shit, surprisingly, don't worry. Anytime I like, he drops the ball or people are getting mad at him, I feel like I know this like secret and I know why he's struggling. So I'm defending him left and right. And like, it was just so awful. And so then after.
So sorry, just to stop you real quick. So you're talking about like emails, communications, like everything is getting bottlenecked with your boss.
Yeah. And I'm basically doing his job. We even hired a junior developer at one point, and so then I was doing his job, my job, and training this really junior person. And so it gets to the point that they pull me aside and he's quitting. He put in his notice to quit because I guess his cancer was like not recovering, or like he was going to have to move to Connecticut or something like that to be near this specific doctor for this rare cancer. Okay. And I'm like really upset. And it's getting to his last week, and I think my boss is going to like fucking die. And I'm training I'm helping him teach his replacement. And then all of a sudden he just the last week stopped showing up, and I'm like, okay, now I'm like training somebody to be my boss. I'm doing his job. Like, what is going on here? What? And apparently he was like, his reason for not coming in the last few days was that he was in the emergency room. So I dropped it again.
Sure.
And then on the very last day, the project manager calls me, like freaking out because she just found out from HR that they had got an anonymous phone call that said that my boss had lied about having cancer at his last job, and that they suspected he was doing it again.
Oh no!
My mom might have done that.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Might have back in the day.
Yeah, Brian's mom did do that.
She did. She did.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes, but only for like she loves like being the center of attention during a disaster. Like when we go to wedding or funerals, she's like, it's like we always are like, look how lit up she is right now, just having the time of her life, just in misery. And she pretended to have cancer, took up a collection at work for some money, and then my dad had to go give it back. He was like, no, you can't pretend to have cancer and collect donations at your work. And he took the money and gave it back because she like wasn't even telling him what was going on. It's just my mom's wild. I'm just going to tell you right now, my mom is a little bit wild. I'm just saying I have experience with that.
Didn't she have him drop him off and she went somewhere else, right?
What?
Did she have him drop her off at work and go somewhere else?
Probably. I don't know if she really
I must
did
have-
that. No, she drove. She just drove to work.
She just drove to work every day, but didn't go to work because she said she was having cancer stuff.
No, she was going to work.
Oh, but just was fighting through cancer the whole time.
She was fighting through cancer because it was just sort of like everybody was like, "Oh man, that's
Right.
a bummer that you have cancer," and she was just like, it was powering her up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's funny because at one point it did dawn on me that like if I found out I got cancer, like why would I still go to work? So it did cross my mind at one point too, because we would have like happy hours and stuff all the time, and he would be getting drunk, and I was just like, I do remember wondering like, are you supposed to be drinking alcohol while you're on chemo? Or,
Yeah.
Like I don't want to ask.
Did he like shave his head and stuff?
No.
And this
It didn't
was
get that bad.
so. But once again, we're talking. Brian's mom did this at some branch of some sort of place. But this is
Buddy, at the phone company.
the phone company.
Lost her
Okay.
job at the phone company for that little game.
This was the VP of the company.
Of the team, yeah. He was like one level below like the C-suite of like $1 billion company.
Wow.
I
that's
mean, it is
incredible.
like, here's the fucking thing though. It's the same thing we've said with calling into work, saying your grandma died or something. I mean, technically, if you can like get away with it, it's kind of like people will lay off of you at work. You know, like I think that's
Yeah.
really. I don't.
But
think
everybody
people
else
do
suffers.
It. Right. I'm saying that I don't think people do it to get days off work necessarily. I think they do it because like there are people that power up from misery. You know what I mean? There's like people that like just every time my mom calls me, every single time she gives me a litany of bad news. That is it. Nothing positive ever come. It's always like, well, my friend, he was one of my best friends and he's dead. Died real nasty too. Real nasty death, you know? And like she'll talk about just like, oh, you know, I need to tell you how fucked up everything is. And then like at the end of the call, like I'm like beaten. I'm like world beaten. You know what I mean? And then I hang up, but I know that she's shining in her house. So I'm like, okay. I mean, if that's what it takes to make her feel good, as long as she's not like ripping people off anymore and like that, I'm fine. It's whatever. But like there are people like when you ask why he would come to work, it's like maybe he even just felt like I don't know what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
No, it's an erratic decision.
Yeah.
But also
a second time. That's the fucking other thing.
I was gonna say he's a catch me if you can to me.
The other thing is like I thought that was as bad as it could possibly get, and like now that this secret was out, that it couldn't possibly get worse. Like it was going to get better, but I like that's the thing is like the trail you leave behind is like what happened to me after that event was way worse than having a boss lying about cancer even, because I mean, first of all, that's just such a crazy lie. It was hard for me to accept that somebody would say it because like
at the level too.
Can I ask how old you were at the time and how old he was?
I was 30, just about to turn 30, and I guess he is probably like in his 40s. Early 40s maybe.
I think like that's another thing is like when you get one of these jobs, you know, we talk shit endlessly about management and the people above you at work. But when you are at work, when you are sitting at your desk, you do think that the people above you have it together in a way where you're just like that, you know, there's no fucking way that the VP of the company would it's like just so out of the realm of possibility that they would do something so erratic.
Yes,
so wild.
That's what the finesse of that is like you have to work your way to VP. Like people won't trust you to be. People don't just trust any old employee to head up a department.
Well,
they got to that level and they were like, no, everybody else at this level is fucking off. Anybody that is under the C-suite is fucking off. So what I'll do is I'm not going to work for the next 6 months. I'll vacation, I'll play table tennis, and then I'll find another job and repeat the process. I'm donezo with any sort of responsibilities. Like, you don't have to show up anymore. You know, but you're using every single employee under you, and they're stressed. And like you said, to think like, well, I can't ask somebody with cancer to do anything at all. Really?
Yeah, it's the manipulation of the whole thing that's bad. He's also, I mean, the other thing about this guy is this is something we touched on the Wednesday show, the basement show last week, where it's like I talked about somebody I knew growing up who lit her car on fire twice. You know what I mean? To claim insurance money, got caught the second time because it's like, fuck it, this just happened 5 years ago, you know? And like we talked a long time ago about this guy who pretended to be a DEA agent to get free rooms at the Fairfield Inn in Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Dollywood, basically.
And he got caught. You know, and it was like he could have quit at any time, and then he ended up getting busted by the fucking DEA. It wasn't like he got caught by the hotel. He's going to jail for impersonating an officer. And it's like, I think a lot of times, and this guy is a good example, is that like some people find a trick, a shortcut, something that is so like appealing, something that takes all of that pressure and everything that you're under. Somebody finds that and they find a shortcut to just kind of go around that, and they can't stop doing it. It's like an addictive behavior. You know, he was like, I can push all my work off to other people and I don't really have to do anything and nobody will ever expect anything from me. And then he got another job, and I'll bet you for a couple months he was like, oh, this is a lot harder than my last job where I told everybody I had cancer. Maybe I'll just tell people I have cancer again, you know?
Yeah, it's like the person that would pretend to be in a wheelchair to get to the front of like a roller coaster line. You know, it's like, you can't do that.
Yeah, and
it's
it is
funny because the way that we discovered that, I wanted to confirm it. So the way that I like kind of confirmed that he was lying is, I'm pretty proud of my like social media stalking skills. Okay. And I went digging and I found his Instagram account, and then scrolled back until I found like a picture of him tagged as his brother, and then I went to his brother's Instagram and was going through his tagged photos. And the week that he was supposed to be training my new boss, he was actually at his own wedding.
What the God? That is wild too. See, that is just.
And so I started liking all the pictures he was tagged in.
Ooh, that's fun. So no, that's a good move.
That I know.
He got a sleepless night because of that.
He deleted his LinkedIn, which is how I know that he knows. And so what I realized when it dawned on me though that I was like getting really screwed over here, I started looking into it more and realized that he also had messed up, like he didn't fix part of my contract that I negotiated for my title to be actually senior. And I was actually in the system as just like an associate developer this whole time. And then I was like asking around and found out that my pay was so low compared to people with the senior title. So
whoa, fuck that guy.
So I was like, we were about to start this huge project. It was our first paid project, and it's ironic because it was not only our first paid project, it was like $1 million project, and we only got the project because of spec work I did, and they didn't tell me that my work won us that project. Wow. So I wasn't getting any credit for that, and I was also though the only person that had the skills to make it because we had really proprietary software and stuff going on, so they wouldn't be able to hire somebody else fast enough. And so I threatened to quit. I was like, you're going to fix my title, you're going to fix my pay, you're going to give me back pay, or like I'm getting a fucking lawyer. And it made them so angry. And the other kind of twist too is like I was actually on the side part-time teaching a class that was kind of like an internship class of my job too. So I also had this like class of like college students that were kind of connected to this too. So I felt really protective of them. And so they negotiated with me that, or they gave me it in writing that my stuff would be fixed, but it wouldn't be fixed for like 6 months. But it did include like back pain stuff. So I was like, okay, but I'm really skeptical. I'm really skeptical about this, but I don't want to let these like college students down. And I have it in writing. It can't possibly get worse, right? So I kept going and I did this project. But the fact that I threatened to quit made all of management like so mad at me and so skeptical of me and all this stuff.
You got target on your back.
That led to, yeah, it led to months of like really intense harassment. Like, and I know that like HR was like monitoring my email and stuff because sometimes I would message somebody asking for help and they would just stop talking to me one day and I would get emails from HR answering the questions I asked. Or like, anytime that I would meet with somebody in private to like talk about what was going on, they would like that person would get pulled aside by management and they would like demand to know what I was talking to them about. So then even people that were my friends, like they stopped talking to me at work. And so like, yeah, it got way worse. But then, and I was also like just really scared too, because, you know, I grew up in the middle of nowhere from Indiana actually. And so I'm coming to this like huge place and I think it's gonna be like, wow, I'm like the one that made it, you know?
Yeah, and you still believe in permanent records. You still believe that somehow whatever you do here is going to transfer to all your other jobs, and they're going to call in and find out that you weren't a good sport after the cancer faker, you know, like.
Yeah. But it ended up working out in that, like, I mean, this is kind of also just another reason I wanted to call in and tell the story too is like I didn't know how do you get out of a situation like that, and so like I like to try to tell people these tips when I feel like I hear somebody's like burning out or something like that, because I feel like we don't take it seriously enough. Like it affected my like physical health too, like just really bad. So some things I learned were like, well, I was lucky to already have been going to like a psychiatrist. So like, it's really, if you feel yourself burning out and you go get mental health care is like just the best first thing to do, because if nothing else, like I had months of this documented by a doctor. So that could really help me out. And he knew a lot about, you know, like employment law and like health. So at his suggestion, and it was only with his help that I was able to take an FMLA leave. And there's a lot of stuff I didn't know about FMLA. Like I'm not married, I don't have kids, but like it's not, even though the word family is in it, it can be any major health issue, even if that's like PTSD or something like that.
That's great.
And then when your doctor, they have like a special form they have to send to your work, and they're not allowed to question it. They just have to let you go on this leave.
If your doctor says it has to happen.
Yeah. Yep. And it can be immediate. So that got me out of the situation. And then I ended up finding an employment lawyer, and I got the like most satisfying thing was it was on my 30th birthday. I got to send like this, like, I wasn't really like, I never ended up suing, but like I got to send this like really threatening, like 3-page long letter from a lawyer to like the CEO of a $1 billion company on my 30th birthday, and just be like, fuck you.
Did your back pay?
Yeah, I actually ended up getting a lot more than it worked out.
It's funny. I do want to say, because of last week when we talked to the guy who sent to the guy who his boss sent him a dick pic, and we were talking about how like he could have like replied, "What's this?" after it, and like really just sent the boss spiraling. You know what I mean? So you going and liking all of the posts fucking is so great because you just as a guy that suffers with anxiety, like high anxiety, I would still be thinking about that night. Like now, it would be, and I'm not bullshitting.
Yeah.
Like your revenge, that is good revenge because it would, like you said, this is a phase that led to another phase. It's like a chapter in your life ending. It is also an anxiety chapter for him ending. Like it's so. I mean, as he saw the Instagram notifications, he probably just started sweating. I mean, and then, he gets fired and stuff, but like, I don't know how you think you're going to you can't lock down your social media. You just can't do it unless you don't want followers. You know what I mean? Like if you don't care,
Why are you on there?
That's exactly it. That's why you can't ever just lock the whole thing down.
My wife used to get so mad at me because she would call off sick, and then I would take like these epic pictures from our day off where like we did super fun shit and tag her in them. She's like, everybody I work with can see that. I called in and said I was sick today.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
cancer is like, you got to go off the grid. Like you're just gonna have to not exist online to get somebody to believe that.
And having your wedding, it's so crazy also. And I gotta say, it's so crazy to think of like a guy at work.
Yeah.
Who has friends.
Arrogant as fuck.
Who has his wedding and nobody knows about it. You know what I mean? Like that even to me is like, look, I've worked in several workplaces and everybody knows everything that's going on. And it's like to think you can even just get away with being like, this is my, I'm going to have my wedding. I'm just going to tell people that I'm going out and having
I'm doing chemo instead.
Yeah, I'm doing chemo instead. It's like, I would just think like, the person that sits in the office next to yours or the person that comes in your office every day and talks to you, if you're getting married, even if you never mention it, they know you're getting married. It's just a thing where like, you have to imagine they're going to catch
we actually didn't know that he was getting married because we knew that he had like a partner, but he like all of these work events and stuff, he never brought in, like people would bring in their partners and stuff, but he never did. And at one point he actually said that he already got married. Like he had a picture because one of my work friends was like putting together this slideshow of like people's birthdays and stuff and was asking about events, and he even gave him a picture of him and his partner, and said that they got married at the courthouse so they could celebrate it, so that we could celebrate it.
Oh my god!
And so like we thought he was already married.
Yeah, I would say, Brian, I think that I disagree with what you're saying in that like. I think that for most people, everyone knows what's going on. I think if you hit the height of arrogance, though, when you think I can conduct a wedding and not get tagged in a picture at my own wedding that my coworkers won't see.
Yeah, especially when you talk about it being $1 billion company, it's like there's a lot of... You don't know what everybody's social network is. You know what I mean? Just in that, like...
Yeah.
If you live in the same city...
Oh, yes, all the time.
You know what I mean?
Facebook proved to us, it's like, how do you know that person? I worked with them 7 years ago, and they're like, oh, that's my best friend. We play D&D all the time. It's like, how do you know Justin like that?
Exactly. And that's the thing is like, you know how connected you are to the people in your city. And like,
you think you can get away with it.
Yeah. I talked about this
before. You think no one's going to notice you can just brush it under the rug and you're that arrogant.
Well, I was looking at the Horny Police website and earlier when we were on break and we were talking about it, and it's like, how do you think you can get away with that? And the fact is, you think you can get away with that because you think you're throwing a pebble into an ocean.
Yep.
And that's what that guy also thought. I'm throwing a pebble into an ocean. There are a lot of people like me who think they're the center of the universe, and that's what drives their anxiety.
Yeah.
Right? But there are a lot of people who don't grasp. They think that they're a little pebble on a big beach, right? And they think nobody's paying attention, nobody's looking. I can just get away with anything I want to get away with.
But like we said, you can exploit that for like stealing from the store, and you can exploit that for certain things, but there's lines you can't get away with.
It's just the two separate types of kind of anxiousness or like view of your place in the world. Like, again, like my place in the world is like that I say a sentence to Brett yesterday. We're just talking and I ruined his day and it's all he thought about for the rest of the day. And now our friendship's ruined and we hate each other.
But
you know what I mean?
I operate my life looking like an IPA dad, knowing that no one will ever remember me, so I can get away with all the fucking bad shit that I want to.
Yeah, and you work your ass off to, like, for me at least, I work my ass off to, like, not convince myself that I'm the center of the universe. Like, I spend all my time thinking about it, but I just can't figure out how to rewire my brain to understand that I'm like your boss. I'm like a pebble on a beach. And that's what he thought. He just thought nobody pays attention to me at work. They're not going to care. I can say anything I want to these people and they won't give it a second thought because they don't care. And like, that's what got him caught is he just thinks there are a lot of people who thinks you can tell a big lie, a really big lie, and people just won't follow up on it. But it's like, you threw all this work on me.
Yeah.
I'm going to follow up to this,
Well, it made me, because like we got along when he was there and I didn't know all this, we got along really well. Like he was such a nice guy, like really helpful. Like I had until he stopped, the work got put on me. I would have easily said that he was the best boss that I'd had.
Wow.
So it kind of like flipped my perception. Like it made me not trust my gut instinct that somebody was trustworthy, I guess.
Yep.
So for like the past year, it's been really hard to like, especially in the beginning, I would think that everyone was against me and I would have to like just be really open and accuse people of doing things that they weren't doing. Like, oh, did you do this just to like attack me? And they would just be like, what? No, like it has taken a really long time to like, it really, when you can't trust your inner voice, like you then go from like this burnout feeling to like almost like a mild psychosis, I would say. And it's, I think that I used to think I'd get really just like so tired and I thought that was burnout, but like, no. Like,
you know what?
Yeah.
You're doing the right thing though. And really, there's no reason to meet anybody and think that they have ulterior motives or that they're going to let you down or disappoint you, because there's no evidence that strangers are going to do that to you if you let them into your life. But once they give you the evidence, you made the right decision. But before that, you weren't stupid, or you were right to get along with somebody that was agreeable and make you feel good. That's not your fault at all. But now with new evidence, you don't fuck with people like that. But everybody deserves a fair shake because they're upfront. Everybody deserves your honest. Like everybody deserves, and until they prove you wrong, you should allow them in because there's no other way to do it. I don't think there's any healthy way to be skeptical. And I'm saying this. Yeah. I'm not saying this because I have this worked out. I'm saying this because this is my problem too, where I'm very judgy and I think that people are always bad or going to let me down. But I do know that like my best self is the one that just accepts people who they are without any sort of skeptical nature to it. And until they prove me otherwise, and most people won't. I mean, starting the show 10 years ago, I don't know where we're at right now. I don't even know who I am right now, but starting the show 10 years ago, the idea was just that people are mostly good. I mean, there's cancer fakers out there, but like everybody else at your job stood up to help somebody out that was suffering deeply. You were operating under the circumstances that someone was going through a very traumatic experience, something that we keeps us up at night and something that we don't want to go through and deeply care about. So you acted in complete compassion and did the right thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think I know that a lot more now, but yeah, I forget where I saw somebody say this, but it was like, it's really fucked up that we we should stop, setting goals of where we want our life to be, and instead set values that we want to live. So like, that event and like going through therapy and stuff like that, it kind of made me stop caring about like, oh, am I gonna get a higher title or higher salary in like 5 years time or whatever, and just like, am I like, because I do prefer the version of myself that has the instinct to just like trust somebody immediately.
Yeah.
So like trying to care more about like, what are my values, not like what do I want to be doing in X number of years.
Yeah, that was a big part of me for therapy. One of the things that really rocked me to my core was my therapist was like, let's figure out your 3 foundational values. Let's figure out your foundational things. Let's figure out the things that you need to happen in your life to make you feel all right. And those aren't always motivated by money or outcomes or anything. It's just that like, as long as I feel, as long as I'm creative, as long as I'm social, as long as I'm productive, whatever my foundational things are, I don't need to, the outcome of that, I'm okay with, because I did what I felt was good to me on the inside.
Yeah, absolutely.
But thanks for calling in. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was a great story.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me ramble.
No, it was great. You have anything to share?
No, that's it.
Lovely. Well, have a good night. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you too.
Peace out. Last call. Thanks for
take
calling Street Fight. What are your pronouns tonight?
Hi, it's Jess and they, them.
What's up? How's it going tonight?
You say Zesh?
Hi. Jess, like Jes.
Jess. Sorry. I overdid it.
No. It's all good. I'm from Denver. We met after the couple shows y'all did in Denver, and I shared with you that I signed up for the Street Fight dating service where my partner put me on to Street Fight when we were first talking, and I was like, oh, this guy isn't too much of an asshole. Like, he's got some pretty good politics and stuff like that. And then we're even still together to this day.
That's great.
Nice.
So thank you.
Nice. That's great.
Well, I was just calling. I'll be quick because I have fucking school in the morning.
Oh no, me too. Sorry.
I'm a teacher, but hearing from the comrade from Seattle just brought me back to the shittiest part of teaching, which is working with a lot of white women who think that they're allies, but they're really not.
Yeah. That's my.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just a lot of like.
Go ahead.
It's just a lot of white liberal women who like think that they're allies and have done enough reading to co-opt the language and have like watched or like read enough of like I forget that white lady, the Robin DiAngelo or whatever her name was, that wrote How to Be an Anti-Racist, and like they do all of the reading and they say all of the right things, but then turn around and like white woman every situation possible.
Yeah, you're actually seeing that today. With Andrew Cuomo, right? Is like the news came out about him, a second accuser, and a lot of white ladies saying like, "Hey, we got to hear everybody. We got to hear him out."
All of a sudden, right?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Also for me,
comes to their...
my daughter goes to what's called a lottery school in Columbus, where there's these alternative elementary schools. Where ours is intensely focused on arts. There is an Afrocentric school. There's also a Mandarin Chinese school. There's a French school. There's a Spanish school where they basically get them fluent by those grades. But my school, my daughter's school, does really have they have a pretty good atmosphere that I'm happy with. But all Black History Month, there has been a lot of just really things that I find objectionable. When it comes to the way that they're putting it out there and the way that it's just like, you know, that's how the things were, and now they're not like that anymore. Isn't it great that we're all in school together right now? And it's like, it's not enough.
I had a student come to my class upset, like highest level upset, and they were like, Guile, we oh shit, I just gave my name, my bad.
We can
well,
cut
they
it.
don't call me Miss because I'm non-binary, but whatever. Anyway, so they were like, hey, like I just came from class and I'm so upset because I was trying to explain in my class that like this one kid kept saying all lives matter and blah 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 blah. Like they were giving this whole story, and I was like, what was your last class? And they were like, well, it was science class. And I was like, well, like help me understand how this came up. And I kid you not, the science teacher posted a picture of Black people and like literally just gave that question of like, what do you guys think about this? And I was like, how is this Black history in any way, shape, or form? Like, it was the most awkward, confusing. Like, I was like, what were you even thinking with that? And like, of course, your whole lesson turned into like kids battling it out with each other if you didn't even get any direction. It was chaos. It was chaos.
I mean, I remember being in elementary school and my political opinions are whatever my parents said. There's no reason to have the kids fight at school, to have middle school kids or any kids fighting at school about this stuff. It's I don't think you're not doing the conversation any sort of justice if that's the best you can do.
No, it has to have like a point at the end, right? Or like you have to have some type of structure.
Yep.
Or else it's just chaos and people are upset. And kids haven't, I mean, even adults fucking suck at this, but like kids haven't gotten the opportunities to like practice talking this stuff out. So like if you just let them wing it, like it's a free for all. So yeah, Black History Month has been interesting. And like my staff will put out this stuff like every single week. They're like, oh, read this critical race theory article, and we'll like have all staff meetings where we're talking about like dismantling systems and this and that, and they get so upset when they end up in a breakout room with me because I'm like, yeah, we just need full-scale communism. I don't really know what to tell you guys. And they get super uncomfortable. And like, someone in the chat just said it's exhausting to be around them, and it truly is.
Well, I think, and not to say that I know the struggle or anything, but it is kind of in a way like we were talking about earlier with Bobby, and that you're letting people down, that like this isn't the right, they aren't doing the right thing all the time. But it's not to say they can't join up with the people that are going after houseless, education or going to alleviate these things. We have a very woke part of our school community that is just talking about like how Black and brown kids are suffering. But this is because of coronavirus, but this is the only time they talk to me about it. Like I don't hear them trying to get some sort of, they're not trying to get reparations. They're not trying to get any sort of equality. They're not trying to change anything, but now it's like, it's something they can talk about. And I also am in like, it's a matter of, if I am wrong, it doesn't bother me. Like I can get over that. I think that like the American problem is so much of like, you feel that there is an objectionable way to get the right information and know things, the best way to do things. And liberals have completely bought into that meritocracy atmosphere that like, I'm doing diversity the right way. I'm messaging in the right way. I think the right way. I read I listen to the right audiobooks, whatever it may be. And for me, when I listen to radical, theory and the outside perspectives, it doesn't turn me off to be like, oh, that was kind of fucked up the way I used to think. I guess I see the way the school is run is not within the values of what we're preaching to these kids,
Exactly. Well, and it's really easy to do the reading or to say the things or to, like, there are moves that are very easy to make that make it look like you're being anti-racist. But then when we have these tough conversations, and I'm also a special education teacher, and we talk about disability on top of all of that, or the systems that like, a majority of the Black students in my school are also identified with special education. Like when we have those kind of conversations, then as soon as it makes people uncomfortable or like that step is a little bit too hard for them to put in place, like they drown you out. And it's the same thing when we're having these conversations as teachers, like, oh, well, you know, just like you said, you know, the communities that are being hit the hardest are ours, and Black and brown communities, like we need to give them the supports and all of that. But like, no, what we need is like resources for everybody. Like we're putting band-aids on a lot of stuff, and like the liberalism just isn't cutting it anymore. It's exhausting.
Nope.
For sure.
Yeah, it was a punch in the gut for me with the Joe Biden presidency, and like seeing some of the people, you know, in my parent circles or, you know, around me that you know, want things to be this way. You know, I don't want Trump to be the president for sure, but I also want to make sure that we continue the move towards the radical type conversations we were having over the summer. Because like when Trump was in office, like people were just down for the cause. People were so ready to flip this motherfucker over. And they just get so easily convinced that now we're doing enough. And I don't see it myself. And I'm not saying that to be above anybody. I just want I wake up frustrated every single day about this situation. Yep. You know? Yep. I put my daughter's in public schools because I felt like she had to know, and I wanted to be a part of like the city and the real world, because that was a huge eye opener for me. And that was it was more informative than any sort of reading or education was to, you know, to see the lived experience of people around me. And I don't know how we make our way out of this, but from what I've seen so far, I think Joe Biden definitely has a lot of detractors and a lot of fucking people that are saying shit. But, you know, I'm also very downtrodden by the folks that are ready to believe that this is enough, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, I guess I would say as like some type of token of like, it might get better. Like, these kids are really fucking smart. Like, I swear they are smarter than we ever were when we were in middle school. Like, they are very aware of the bullshit. And it also reminds me of some poll that's come out recently that says, like, Gen Z identifies, like, 16% LGBTQIA+. Like, I run the GSA at my school, and we have some, like, sixth graders who are like talking about being omnisexual, and I'm like, yo, like if I would have had that kind of like perspective of gender, of sexuality, of like who I was in the world, and like of what's right and wrong, I get to have these conversations with these kids, and like they fucking get it more than we ever did, for sure.
Oh yeah. And me and Brian talked about it, like even when we started the show, a big part of doing the show 10 years ago when we got on Twitter was like, you can't make trans jokes and racist jokes. You can't make these kind of jokes and be popular. You know, not that that's the reason to ascribe to, but it's like hurting people is not a good idea. Why? I don't want to hurt people. I want to laugh and have fun. If I knew that like me having a good time was going to hurt somebody else, like I'm not into that. You know, like that was the guiding light of what we wanted to do, was to be involved and include everybody and understand where they're coming from and not be defensive or so attached to this very outdated idea. I never believed in what they were telling me at school anyways. And now, you know, with TikTok, with social media, the access to information, there's so many young people that are able to get outside of the bullshit in a way that I was not available to me in my life, you know?
Absolutely. So, yeah, that'll be the positive on all this. Like, all the fucking adults suck, but the kids are pretty cool. Kids are all right.
Kids are all right.
I mean, some of them will be gross alt-right people or whatever, but I agree. Like, I'm around a couple of 8-year-olds right now and a 5-year-old, and they know more than I do about how stupid the world is. Like, they just inherently know that people shouldn't suffer or be persecuted or oppressed. And, you know, I think I hope we can carry that into the future, but we've got an uphill battle. Thanks for calling in.
For sure. Yep. Thanks, guys.
Have a good night.
Peace out.
Bye.
All right. That was the ABCD call-in show. Hope you enjoyed it. We're Street Fight Radio. If you want to hear our premium content where we fuck around and
we curse more.
We curse more. Yeah, we say banned words over on patreon.com/Street Fight Radio. $5 a month gets you access to the premium feed where you hear our bonus content like 100 Million Tons of Steel, the heavy metal show we did, Holy Boys, the show that Brian and Tom did together, Shocktober with Chris James from Not Even a Show, Shocktober Volume 1 with Felix from Chapo Trap House. That's all available for $5 a month. Just hit that subscription link at patreon.com/Street Fight Radio. Get access to that immediately. If you don't have the means to get a monthly subscription going, head to store.streetfightradio.com where you can now download 100 Million Tons of Steel for $5. You can get access to Holy Boys, Teen Fight Radio, Shocktober for $5 out the door without the monthly rate attached to it. We appreciate all y'all that have kept this thing going. It's only because of you that we continue to do this. And we will see you on Wednesday night for a basement street fight.